Such a nice guy.
Out, so they are less
Diddy
on the defensive as it would be, and you can see them just kind of making their way through that property. But I can tell you, every home that's on here, meaning there's 3 major homes. This one right here, there's a couple of officers still inside there. We know at least 1 officer is still inside here, so they're still standing guard. So whatever it is that they're doing, this isn't over by any means, and I think this is probably just getting underway. They just want to make sure that all these buildings are secure, and if there is anybody on this property, that they are in custody before they actually start whatever it is that they're looking for. But again, as you mentioned, very well planned, very
he makes
quickly
nice
executed,
music, man.
and of course a number of officers out here. I couldn't even venture to say how many of these armored officers that are on the property. You can see them right there, and this is just a small group. That was also one of the things. As soon as they made their way into that pedestrian gate, the first thing they did was open up all those doors on the Range Rover into this portion of the home, and that we're talking about that garage door very quickly. And of people that we've seen come out of the building, that's where they all came from. They walked them out, put them in this little corner right here, and that's where they've been questioning them ever since.
Another ladder, as you were mentioning, a couple of ladders on site as part of this raid. I don't know what they're looking for or where they're trying to reach, but yeah, we did see somebody carrying a ladder, the second one on the property right now. It does seem like there are 3 different buildings on this property, the main mansion, and then 2 guest houses, for lack of better knowledge in terms of what they are exactly used for. But yes, 2 smaller type houses on the lot as well, and of course the pool right there in the middle with the grass lawn. So clearly, yeah, this is going to take time, and that is why probably there are so many personnel on site to go through everything. And the search that they are conducting, we again don't know a lot of information in terms of what evidence they're trying to collect, who they're looking for, or why they made the raid to begin with. But again, this could possibly be involving the sex trafficking investigation. And again, when we get more details, of course, we'll bring it to you. But going to be a while. You see the Department of Homeland Security officers right there in that Bearcat. You know, this could be phase 2 of what to do now, what they're searching for, and making sure they have all their information they need when they conduct a raid like this and go through the process of going through that property. It is a big mansion indeed, owned by Bad Boy Films and one of Sean Combs's children. So again, this happening just about 20 minutes ago at this point. We do have video from earlier, if we could show you that, and we have been showing that to you in a bigger box. Juxtaposed to the live pictures you're seeing right now. But when they made entry, it was very methodical, and they did have many different law enforcement officials here as a unified operation, and a lot of them making sure that those entry points are secure and they're able to make entry all together with very, very little use of force. So clearly it is a process whenever you conduct a raid like this. So again, we do have Haley Winslow on the ground as well. She is pushed back to a certain perimeter though, so they're very differing vantage points that we can see. But if we do look at the ground shot there, you see law enforcement on the ground there as well. Haley, anything changing where you're at right now?
Just a lot more people showing up on scene. It's been pretty hectic out here. Yeah, this all unfolded about 25 minutes ago, and I apologize that you couldn't hear me clearly earlier. It's very loud, especially we've got, of course, Sky Fox showing you all of this from overhead. But basically, it all started about 25 minutes ago. 30 or so law enforcement vehicles that were from the Department of Homeland Security, LASD, of course, LAPD assisting in this as well. And they pulled up to this home that's registered to Bad Boy Films, part of Bad Boy Entertainment, one of P. Diddy's companies, and
DJ Academics,
to one of
are you
his
watching me?
daughters.
Yo,
So
you
they basically
amazing.
all got out of the three
I
Bearcats.
love your channel, man.
They went in. They were obviously armed. They
I
pulled
love
a
your
few
channel.
people out as
Somebody sent me the
Stu was
screenshot.
showing you up in Skyfox. But
Academics, the
we're hearing
OG.
that P. Diddy may not even be
Look
here.
at that.
Of course, haven't
I
seen
love
him.
that.
We understand he may
The
have
OG,
flown on
man.
a private jet to New York, which I'm sure kind of threw off their plan, although this was very strategically organized. So I would assume by now, whether he is in New York or not, that he
YouTube
is
OG, I love
likely
it.
in
Come on,
custody
man.
if he is
Congrats to you,
involved in this. But again, we are hearing that this is involving P. Diddy and sex trafficking charges. To what extent or with what details, we don't yet know. But of course, we will be on top of this all day. It's been, it was pretty hectic when we all rolled in. We were kind of right behind the line of law enforcement.
We made it, guys. This is all I ever wanted on
This was
YouTube.
all unfolding, and we're since obviously behind this crime
I
scene
could quit
tape here
now.
in Holmby
Okay.
Hills. This is off Mapleton Drive here in the 200 block, where they are in front of this home that involves P. Diddy, and we'll of course bring you the very latest as soon as we get it. It's a very active scene. You can see the officers actually right now. This is law enforcement officers from the Department of Homeland Security coming out right now. They're actually walking down the street in uniform. If you see them right now, Sandra. Marching down the road.
Yes, from your vantage point, do you see them holding anything? Are they taking out any information? I can't really tell from where I am.
The drone.
Tony, can you see?
Just brought out their law enforcement drone. They look like they're putting that away now.
Yeah. Okay. They have
Tony Mutita, our photographer. He's zoomed in a little bit better, so he's got a little bit better view. But yeah, it looks like it's their drone.
Okay, and we are hearing from TMZ at this point that P. Diddy, Sean Combs' home in Miami is being raided as well. Again, TMZ reporting that his home in Miami is reportedly being raided right now as well. So clearly a link in all of this, but as far as more information in terms of what they're looking for, why this raid is being conducted, still more questions than answers at this point. We're looking for answers and more clarity. So we're hoping to get more of that as but they will be for some time. And any move seeing from Skyfox.
Cutting out.
Nope, just these the guys on the ground down there, the heavily armed officers that made their way inside. They actually are kind of just milling about or holding the perimeter, as it would be. The non-essential, you can see them making their way back over to these armored vehicles, probably doing a little debrief about what they saw. In any type of these situations, it really is, you know, you've got these armored officers that go in first, but I would venture to say the investigators or the people that know what they're looking for probably still out there on the streets, and they're waiting for that all clear to make sure that there is absolutely nobody on this property. And again, this is just a precaution. They don't want to have any kind of issues. Maybe somebody's hiding still, maybe just scared. And it, you know, doesn't have to be nefarious, and just because they don't know what's going on, and they just don't want to have somebody pop out of a
raiding his
closet or
ass, raiding his
bathroom or
house,
any one of these rooms while they're doing that investigation, and then other problems can ensue. So that's basically why we're seeing that large presence. They keep walking through there, and like you mentioned, this is an extremely large home, and probably with many rooms and little secret areas. So they want to make sure that everything is cleared before they allow those investigators in to start doing that investigation, whatever it is that they're looking for. But you can see a number of those officers making their way back into that major, this is the big main house, as it would be, making their way back inside. And I would venture to say that they're going to just go through every one of those rooms and make sure that there is nobody in there. I don't think they're those guys that we're seeing, guys and gals that we're seeing in those heavily armored gear and equipment. I don't think they're actually searching for any items that could connect whatever the investigation is. I would bet that they're going to just go through every one of those rooms and make sure they're waiting for that all clear. Presence, they keep walking through. You see there, those are the ones that are actually going to go inside. They probably have, like you said, they probably have ideas of what they're looking for, where they might be. But right now, it is still a waiting game to make sure that everybody is out of this building and that it is secure for the investigators to make their way in and actually start that search.
And we should mention, thank you, Stu, that
Anyway, so let's talk about this bit. Holy crap, the time has come for Diddy. We covered the lawsuit on the channel. Academics has been covering it in depth, too. Yo, That's really dope. He probably has no idea who the fuck I am, but still dope that he used my stream for a little bit. This is big time. Okay, that lawsuit. Did he really? Can you clip it? He said, no disrespect. Can you clip it? Yo, somebody clip me, Academics, saying that. I want to put it in a file and save it. Academics gave you a shout out. Really? Somebody record it for me, please. He jumps off your stream, said no disrespect. That's the OG, man. But yeah, so big time, serious shit going on. You know what I'm saying? Diddy has had other lawsuits and allegations, and we didn't see no shit like this. Okay, that lawsuit that we covered when I was reading it page by page with you guys, and I was like, yo, this is, I mean, they had pictures, they have video, they had all kinds of shit. This is the Freak Off House. I should change the title. Freak Off House. And Academics probably thinks this is my biggest page, and this is only my second page, but okay, let me do it. Freak Off House. Freak Off House. I'll put in the title. Freak Off House. Oh, you can't clip it because he's on Twitter. No, he's on YouTube. He's on YouTube right now. Somebody go back and rewind DJ Academics and clip it for me. I'll send you the link. Maybe you can rewind it. Somebody that knows how to record, rewind it for me. And not only are they rating his LA house, and Jane Doe, shout out to you for telling me about the stream. They're rating his Miami place too at the same time.
Allegations against sex trafficking. As you said, Sandra, there's several lawsuits against him for these allegations, all of which he has denied. So we will have to wait and see. Of course, and everybody's interested in the details of what how he's connected to these latest allegations.
And from your vantage
we will bring
point,
the very latest as soon as, I'm sorry?
Yeah, from your vantage point, Haley, does it look like some authorities are leaving the scene right now? They're done, or not? Is that not the case?
No, it looks like more are coming. I think what you're seeing is just the vehicles moving to a different location. We're kind of at the bottom of the hill. But if you go up a little bit farther, some of the vehicles that you saw down here earlier have since kind of gone to the other side of the hill. This is obviously a very prestigious neighborhood. I said earlier, Humphrey Bogart's former house, I think, is next door to P. Diddy's in the 200 block here of Mapleton and Holmby Hills off of Sunset near Beverly Glen. So the vehicles have basically just moved forward. You're seeing a lot more of those law enforcement officers from the Department of Homeland Security, though, back here on the street in Mapleton since they've come out of the home after they've done their thorough investigating inside.
Prestigious said, could they be looking for info/evidence with the Tupac Shakur death thing too? I don't know. Yeah, the trial's coming up. They actually pushed the trial back to November, I think. It was supposed to happen like in June or July, and it got pushed back. Listen, the Diddy stuff, I believe it. I believe a lot of the allegations against Diddy, the freak off parties, all the different people that have come forward, the women and men. I personally, in my opinion,
instead of body armor.
Definitely, and we all know how that works. The suits are going to be the investigators and probably the ones that are running the show. And again, I still think that they are just waiting for that green light for them to be allowed to make their way inside the property and to make their way to the areas that I would venture to say that they probably are pretty specific. I don't think they're just going in randomly. And again, this is just a guess. I don't think they're going in randomly, just going through everybody's stuff inside there. They probably have an area that they know or an office that they're going to be looking into or some computers that they might want to physically get their hands on, and that's what they're waiting for right now to make their way inside this property. This, like you said, very beautiful home out there in the Homely Hills area, and they just waiting to get the all clear to allow them inside. While these officers that we see right there in the tactical gear, well, their job is to make sure that everything is safe for them to go in. Now, they don't probably again, I just want to be clear. It's like nobody's thinking that there's booby traps or some kind of sniper inside the home. That's not what they're thinking at all. It's probably more along the lines of they want to make sure that everybody is outside of the home because they don't want to have somebody stepping out.
With Diddy, you don't know because allegedly, according to one of those lawsuits, it had claimed that, like, didn't they say he put a bomb on the rapper Fabulous's? Was it Fabulous? Whose car was it? There was a
the
bomb.
officers go, I would probably put this group closer to 100. Not just what we're seeing right here. This is just one group of many that have made their way out here to this Holmby Hills area. And as far as the suits that we were talking about, that's part of the group right there. But there's some other ones as well, younger ones that were basically leading the charge. And that's them right there, actually. They perfect timing. And it looks like they're making their way over towards the home. They might be the first ones to make their way in to start that investigation process or figure out where we're going to look, what we're looking for, and then later on the suits will make their way in as well. But this, like you said, is going to be a very long process out here, and this is just the very, very beginning. And the folks that they had taken into custody, they've moved them out of the area right now. And again, wouldn't say that they are arrested. We don't know that for a fact. They took them into custody. A few of them still had cuffs on. Some of them didn't. So maybe this was a division of, you know, these are people that we know work here. These are people that may be associated with Sean Combs. So, or Bad Boy Entertainment.
Oh, Kid Cudi.
So it's one of those.
Thank you. It wasn't Fabulous. It was Kid Cudi that allegedly this guy put a bomb on his car and blew that shit up.
Been used out here as of yet, but again, still very active situation, and of course that is a huge house, and they've got a lot of rooms to clear before they allow those investigators in.
Yeah, we talk about the process of bringing this many law enforcement officials to the scene to have a raid like this and conduct a raid and make entry into a Holmby Hills mansion that's owned by a prominent celebrity and their business. So clearly, this is something that doesn't happen just overnight. Law enforcement officials do have to have their evidence ready. They have to make sure every T is crossed in order to make entry into a home like this for an investigation. So when we talk about and see these kinds of raids happen or having them be conducted, it kind of shows that they do have enough evidence that their investigation is to a certain point where they have made a search warrant and they've gotten all of the evidence they need to have a search warrant, that they have to establish that a crime was possibly committed and there's evidence of probable cause and a crime that has taken place. So all
Yeah, they're not going to make a move like this unless they have something. And it's just interesting, too, to see how some of these lawsuits can change to criminal. You know, like, I don't know if it was just based off of this. Maybe these people handed over the evidence that they have. Who knows what else they're going to find in that house or the Miami home, because the Miami home is also being raided. Lord knows what kind of stuff they're going to find in the freak-off house. 1 million square feet
involved, investigators involved, and you see just personnel involved on location right there. And you do see a number of people. This is going to be an active situation for quite some time. Again, we don't know what they're looking for. We don't know what the interest is right now. We can only presume that it is part of a sex trafficking investigation. Those are multiple lawsuits that Sean Combs have been facing this year alone, allegations that he denies, but clearly this could be all part of the process here. But again, law enforcement does just not go in willy-nilly into a home and conduct a raid like this unless they get the necessary evidence they need to get that search warrant to acquire entry as well. So if we could take a look from Haley's point of view, it does seem like there are more individuals gearing up or maybe more investigating.
To me, this almost looks like Tony Montana's house is being raided from Scarface. I'm pretty sure I saw Bearcats out of that shit. They act like somebody with a machine gun was going to come out of the house and start blasting, or like some type of, you know, defense team was going to be there.
Some official details from her, because everything that we're getting is basically behind the scenes from our law enforcement sources here. So basically, we don't have anything new yet. We're still just waiting to kind of figure out exactly what happened. We know, of course, P. Diddy's homes on both coasts have been raided. You can see some more officers coming coming out of his property right now. Just trying to see if I could see the lady who we're hoping to get the interview with, and she's just
interesting. Faith, thank you for the memberships. Thank you for the 10 memberships. Let's see if they get an interview.
More details, here. But
and somebody in the chat said, "Why are rich people so weird?" I honestly think, I feel like some people, they reach a certain amount of wealth that they just have everything. At a certain point, there's nothing that you can't have, and so the people just get bored. I feel like it's like people that like watch adult videos all day long and are addicted, and eventually the same thing is like boring, so they just have to keep escalating and escalating and escalating to this weird shit to get off. I feel like some of these rich people, they're just bored with life. There's no limitations. There's nothing to achieve. There's nothing more to get, and so they just, I don't know. Maybe that might be one weird way to look at it. Kristen Bird, thank you so much for the 50. Appreciate that. And if you guys could hit the like button and subscribe.
For something, they have enough evidence, and they were able to get a search warrant before they could even do or conduct a raid like this.
Yeah. I mean, they have to have some credible, information, evidence. They're not just walking off of some like allegations. Like they definitely got to have enough substantial, probable cause to raid 2 of his homes. And where's Diddy at? That's what I want to know. Where is Diddy at right now? Hillary Clinton sweating?
Make that decision as well, and nobody wants to be on the end of a wrongful seizure. So of course they needed to show evidence that there is a reason for this type of force and for these officers to make their way into this home. And then again, of course, the world we live in today, all of these officers that are showing up, they all know that we are everybody's under a watchful eye nowadays. So they made every effort to do this as quickly and as less destructive as possible. We watched them trying to get through one of those side gates. That pedestrian gate was giving them a little bit of an issue, but in the end they got in there, and after that they made their way in very quickly. We didn't see any doors being smashed or things getting kicked in. It was basically a lot of opening up and just letting that garage door, somebody got in there and they opened up that garage door, and or possibly the people inside were curious what was going on and they opened up that garage door. But again, the forceful entry part of it really truly was just in a little bit here in that side gate. Everything else was very quick and with etiquette would be the best way to say it, actually. Yeah. They went in and they just did what they needed to do. And again, the reason why they're still there, I can tell you, it's not like a television show where they're pulling out drawers and dumping out clothes and just trashing the place. They just want to make sure that there are no other people inside that building that may still be scared, hiding, or having a problem, and that as soon as that word is given, which I'm sure is going to come shortly, because we already saw a couple of the groups making their way in, less armed, so they're making their way in, they're going to start looking for, then of course, even in that the warrant, they're going to have a list of things that they are able to look at, able to take. It isn't just a random search. They actually have to go in and actually find things that they believe have information or evidence that could create.
And I'm wondering, who are these people that were like arrested or taken into custody? It seems like Leo sent me an image from the Daily Loud on Twitter. Look at these guys real quick. It looks like 3. They look kind of young to me too. I don't know if they're his kids or his friends or something. Did his son, maybe his friends. 3 people arrested, it looks like, or at least just temporarily detained. I don't know.
Now that search is definitely ongoing.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, we've covered so many of these different types of raids. Obviously, not always at a celebrity mansion like this in Holmby Hills, but clearly sometimes you see them having to forcefully enter a property and seize evidence, and it doesn't always go so smoothly. And it was, in fact, very smooth the way they gained entry into this property. And after they figured out that side entrance, they were able to make entry. But it's not like they show in the movies, as you mentioned, Stu, right? They weren't battering down doors and destroying property. This is very methodical, and in terms of many stories we've covered, like
Kathy said, TD Jake's house next. House is next.
on site. So clearly they're ready for anything. Whatever they're going to be met with, you don't know. And that is why they make sure that they are safe in numbers, that they're armored, and that is why you see such a big force out there, because you never know what kind of emotion you're going to be met with.
Definitely, and emotion is really what plays a lot of it, and that's one of the things that we were talking about is, right now, that was the gate where they were having all that trouble. They're actually looking at that actual door and propping it open, but that was the door that was giving them trouble. And I was trying to figure out if that is actually maybe like a private entrance for that back house. It does actually look like it. It seems like, if you're staying there, that's how you get in and out without going through the actual house itself. But you can see they still have personnel there on scene. Every house, there's 3 properties that I would say on this big piece of property. They all have some sort of somebody there, just making sure that there isn't anything being taken or anything moving in and out, and or another person in.
Miss Kino on Twitter says, imagine H-Wood producers and the rap industry very nervous right now. If he was Epstein of the industry, who were his clients? Cassie recorded a lot of freak-offs. Yeah, if Diddy has, who knows, devices. From that lawsuit, it said that he had like cameras like all over the house, and this guy kept all kinds of like activities, digitally recorded. This could open up a bunch of doors. This could really be bad for Diddy. And maybe other people too. Maybe other participants as well.
They're still outside, so that shows you that they're going to be waiting. I would venture to say when they find something, those are the guys that are going to make their way in and actually looking at and taking things from this home. But right now, that process, I wouldn't even think has actually even started.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to take a lot of time. That is a huge mansion to begin with. And then it depends on what they're looking for. It could be as small as a hard drive or as big as boxes and boxes full of evidence or information they're trying to collect and gather. And where all of that information is also the tricky part. I mean, think about going into a stranger's home. You don't know where they put things. And so it could be very hidden. So this whole process, it could take a lot of time in terms of them finding what they made entry for. So
that picture of those people that seem to be detained or arrested, a couple of them appear to be Diddy's sons, Justin and King Combs. Oh, I thought he only had one son. I didn't know he had multiple sons. And Miami's getting raided as well. Yo, TMZ has obtained additional footage that shows federal agents rolling up to Diddy's house via water on some Miami shit. They pulled up in boats. The video shows armed agents standing on a boat, and they appear to be armed. Let me see if I can pull that up. I'd be careful with teams.
They are making their way in and out of the property as they conduct their search. But a search that is just beginning, as you see those suits, the investigators taking their time, making sure everything is done properly and methodically in terms of what they're looking for at this point. Again, we have a lot of questions that we just don't know the answers to at this point. We do have someone on the line right now, Hal Kemper. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you can make light of what we're looking at in terms of Homeland Security making entry into the Holmby Hills mansion of Sean Combs.
Sandra, this is a Homeland Security investigations that appears to be on site. What they're probably looking for is, well, I should say in general, they look at human trafficking and sex trafficking being a component of that. And of course, there's been some rather big civil suit stuff that's taken place, but also the New York case where the statute of limitations basically had been rescinded, allowing them to look back many years in this case. Part of it was there have been allegations that he was drugging young women, so that there was which certainly implies that it was rape that had taken place at some point. But I think what HSI is probably looking at is the interstate aspects of it, if there was any online activity that could have taken place. And that's usually where HSI would have a jurisdictional interest. Homeland Security Investigations being part of the Department of Homeland Security, looking at the interstate side, mostly online, and whatever took place across state lines. And of course, he travels all over the place. So I'm sure they're looking at him potentially transporting women around the country, and whether that was tied to a larger criminal activity.
Yeah, definitely Homeland Security involved in any interstate, as you mentioned, and international criminal activity here. So what exactly do you think everyone is looking for at this point? We saw such a large number of law enforcement make entry.
Well, it's a combination of both local and federal. And from what I understand, the local law enforcement has the specific lead at each one of these locations, with the federal federal investigators coming in with them in concert. And what they're probably looking for is any evidence that they can gather, certainly any images, pictures, video, anything online. I've no doubt that they're going in and gathering up any electronic media, to include any laptops, any flash drives, anything that he might have that might support whatever allegations, whatever reasonable suspicion that they have that led to these search warrants. Just to get a search warrant like this requires a certain substantial legal barrier has to be, or legal argument or legal litmus test has to be met just to get them to sign off. Particularly knowing with somebody with means like this, that if they go into their home, they're going to be met with some very capable lawyers on the defendant's part to challenge what was ever done, and everything they do there is going to be challenged. So you can imagine, not only did they have to work with the district attorney and potentially assistant U.S. attorneys in arranging this, but they also are being very careful on how they're gathering any evidence, realizing that just about everything they do on site will potentially be challenged in court by his attorneys.
Absolutely. And speaking of his attorneys, we did reach out for comment. We have not yet heard back. Obviously, we want to hear his side. For Sean Combs' part, he has denied any allegations regarding sex trafficking and any investigation into that. But yeah, this could take a lot of time in terms of collecting that hard drive and flash drives and any computers they may find. Like I was mentioning before, Hal, it's very difficult to know where someone would have that or would hide.
And is Russell Simmons still out of the country, or did he come back? Because they were alleging that he ran away to some other country. I think he's in Bali, Indonesia, but he's denied the claims. I think somebody has come out and claimed that there's rape allegations against him, and then so he dipped out. I don't know. Is Diddy gonna have to leave to another country or something, or where's Diddy at?
And earlier today, Homeland Security Investigations New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance.
Yo, Kitty said, I'm pretty sure that I saw Mr. Diddy on the white ATV on Interstate 95, Miami this morning.
Further information as it becomes available. So nothing really that we haven't already told you. Here on the scene, on the ground, a lot of the law enforcement officers with Homeland Security have gone up the hill. You can see one of those big command vehicles coming out, one of those police vehicles. In the meantime, behind us, several of his friends, they've identified themselves as, have been trying to get through the crime scene to get to the house. But of course, LAPD not letting them through. We've tried to get comment from them on camera to find out if they have any more information about what's going on, but they haven't been able to they don't want to provide us any information, I should say. And just in case you're just joining us, we have homes of P. Diddy being raided on both coasts, Miami and his home here in Holmby Hills.
So, Haley, just to clarify, in that statement, it didn't mention Sean Combs, correct? Or anything?
It doesn't, but we have confirmation from multiple law enforcement sources that this does involve Sean Combs or P. Diddy. But no, this statement, I'll read it one more time, says earlier today, Homeland Security Investigations New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from both HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners.
All right.
We'll provide further information as it becomes available. And of course, we're trying to get them to talk to us on camera, but they said the lady in particular who sent me the statement says she's not allowed to.
Thank you so much. Yeah, not really clarifying a whole lot, though, but clearly understandable because right now, maybe they're not in position to divulge any more information. So let's bring in Hal Kempfer here again from Homeland Security. Thank you so much for your expertise in all this. I don't know if you heard that statement, but didn't really say anything except that an investigation is underway in Miami and here. So clearly not stating who it involves or what the charges are.
It doesn't, and they might be crime scenes. I should clarify, I'm not from Homeland Security, but I work in Homeland Security, and I've worked with Homeland Security investigations over many years. Very familiar with not only the agency, but also a lot of the individuals, a lot of the people who work there, to include here in Los Angeles, especially. What they're probably looking at are the two residences, one in New York, one in Los Angeles. And I haven't seen the documentation, but if it doesn't name Sean Combs by name, it's probably because there's been allegations that criminal activity had taken place tied to sex trafficking at these locations. So what they're doing is they're looking at the locations themselves and investigating them as potential crime scenes. And of course, with that, I'm sure the scope is such that they can look just about anywhere, gather up any materials. They're probably gathering up any electronic materials. They're probably doing things like imaging the place, taking a lot of pictures and stuff that may be used later. Could be in reference to what witnesses say on the stand, that they may look at various pictures of the locations themselves to help refresh their memory while they're talking about various activities that may have taken place or alleged to have taken place. So there's a lot of reasons why they might not focus on him per se. Also, there's another thing too, is he runs a fairly large organization. The fact that they don't name him might mean that they're looking at other activities that could have taken place within his immediate, entourage or his organization that involve these properties. So one can't rule out anything at this point because we don't know a lot.
Sure, and obviously this is just their statement to the press at this point. So what the actual legal documents say and what the statement they gave us is very, very different, let's be clear. So we're sometimes, not privy to all of those details and information until it becomes available at a later date. But you were mentioning the whole search process. We are seeing so many law enforcement officials, investigators, and this is basically 3 properties on this entire, or 3 homes, I should say, buildings on this entire property in Holmby Hills we're talking about. How long is it going to take for them to go through it? Do they have a time limit?
Hours,
I mean, essentially, some people are going to come back into the home, right, at some point. So how does that all play out?
I'm sure if you were to ask them, they'd say it's going to take as long as it takes. These are huge properties. You can imagine looking through one home takes a lot of time, but when you have 3 very large buildings with a lot of different rooms, various different levels on those homes. Also, they're going to be looking at every nook and cranny. They'll be looking anything that's subsurface in the home. They'll be looking in basically everywhere they can. They could be using a variety of sensor systems to find out if there's any hidden compartments, safes, things like that, and walls that aren't readily apparent. There could be a lot of different things they're looking for, and they may have dogs there too, looking for various different things as well. But they're probably looking for more where stuff may be held. I would imagine with that, and of course anything tied to any of the allegations. We don't know. But certainly the fact that they're there indicates that they probably had, some witnesses say that certain things happened or certain things were there when they were there. And they're probably trying to verify if those things are in fact there, if that what they were told is correct. So there's probably just a lot of things that they're working through, checking off a list of stuff. And by the way, they may be looking on the grounds themselves. There could be stuff that's not necessarily in the buildings that are on the grounds. And of course, they'd be looking at that as well. I imagine it's going to take quite some time with a property this big for them to work through all of the potential spaces and places where materials could be.
Thank you so much. We will have more on Fox 11 FM. to get information, we'll once again. And now we resume to our original program.
This is our family farm.
Oh, let's find a feed. Hold on a second. Let me see if we can find a feed here real quick. Tell me that we got something. Tell me. That might be the only one, but. Whether they ban me from this group. Let me check real quick. Hold on. Here we go. I got another feed. I think I got another feed. Hold on a second. Oh no, they switched.
So let's.
What the hell? What the? They switched it up. Hold on. Let me ask the homie. Any other feed for Diddy? I want Diddy. Oh, that sounds weird. Pause. They can't just turn away like that, man. This is big news. They're showing the TV. I wonder if they'll come back. Oh, man. Diddy looks like they stopped. AP Diddy calling the shots. AP Diddy calling the shots, man. I better shut that down. We'll check out Miami. Oh, Miami's live. We got Miami. Oh, tell me that you love me. Give me a kiss. I mean, that sound sucks, but I got a Miami feed. Hold on a second. Boom. This is Miami, man. Bienvenido a Miami.
Where is 10th position from us? Okay.
Well, then we got that Miami house.
No, I just was curious what they were looking at. Yeah, oh, I see it now. I got it.
If LA pops up, we'll do it again. But for now, I guess they took it off. It's a really huge story, though. They should have just skipped whatever programming they had. Is it over for Diddy? Is his legacy done? Or does money get you out of situations like this? You know?
Can we go forward just a tiny bit? Now I just see that these guys keep walking up to
Take
the
that,
gate
take
here.
that.
I don't know if they're just looking or waiting or.
Yeah, Los Angeles ended their stream. Okay. But there's another feed here, but they still. I'll keep an eye out for if they come back. Maybe they'll come back. But right now, this is a live feed of Miami. Miami's house compared to LA's house, it's alright. It's alright. Did they got generational wealth?
Let's go ahead and go just a little bit more east and then slide a little south if you can.
Yeah. Sean, what's your favorite Diddy song? Diddy. Sean. Fucking dogs. Can't even find his music. You type his name and it's all this other stuff that's happening. I guess it doesn't matter anymore.
Are you good here?
I'll be missing you. He's a part of that. Oh, that Forever song was pretty dope. It was like Nas, and Can't Hold Me Down was really dope too. All About the Benjamins. The Victory album was dope. looking at me. Mace had some really good music back then. Him and Mace had a fallout. None, all garbage. R. Kelly getting a roommate. All right, let me see what else I can find online as far as, they seem kind of hush. By the way, Nancy Grace's episode came out. Oh my God! Now I'm behind for today. Let me turn this down a little bit. Oh, they're back. There's another page. Hold on. There it is. Okay.
Or staffers were at the homes in question when the raids took place.
Damn, man. Taking L's, living the high life, and it's all coming down. Miami and LA, California, hitting the two big spots. P. Diddle.
All right, so like I said, we're going to keep these shots up here. We're going to be bringing into the conversation very soon some of our legal analysts and law enforcement experts who know how these investigations proceed. And you might have been listening to our friends at Fox 11 there. They bring up a good point. These do not happen sporadically or instantaneously. They are methodically planned out days, if not months in advance. And so if you're just wondering why now, that's a question I have as well here. So you see there in Los Angeles, you see there in Miami, it looks like the camera is somewhat veering off the actual residence and property in question from Diddy, but we're going to keep it up nonetheless. This is coming to us from our partner, WSVN, down there in South Florida. So in the meantime, we're going to keep this up. We're going to be bringing in voices to help us make sense of this story. Why now? What could go into a probe like this, a federal sex trafficking probe? And who, if we find this out, might be implicated? Is it Diddy himself? Is it not Diddy? Are some of his associates?
The Philly rapper.
We just don't know those details right now.
What a day!
And so, like I said, Fox 11 in Los Angeles, this is an exclusive to them. I mean, they were over, Sky Fox was over this first. Haley Winslow down there on the ground doing some great reporting, trying to get a better sense of the situation, a better handle of the situation, as she was reaching out to sources within Homeland Security. And so we don't know a lot at the moment. What we know right now is happening live as we speak. Residents affiliated and connected with the music mogul and rapper Sean Diddy Combs are being raided right now by numerous law enforcement officials in what we are told, according to Fox 11 in Los Angeles, is a probe into a federal sex trafficking investigation. Now both there in Los Angeles and in Miami, Florida. So we are overhead both of the residences in question. We do not know, essentially, because we did not see live how the basically the breach went in Miami. We did see, though, how it went in Los Angeles, and we can cue that back up, show you that in just a moment here, of when these, what looked like SWAT team officials breached one of these doors there at the mansion in Holmby Hills in Los Angeles. So I want to bring up some of the context, though, as far as what Diddy has experienced in the past 3 to 4 months, because I think the context is important. So remember, last year, Cassandra Ventura, that's the famous R&B singer and songwriter Cassie, she dropped the bombshell lawsuit in New York federal court against Diddy.
The dogs, yeah.
Now, they dated between 2005 and 2018. The lawsuit detailed very damaging and disturbing allegations over years of alleged sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. Now, the two settled on an undisclosed settlement the very next day. So remember, Cassie was asking for around $30 million in damages.
Yes.
She was about to publish somewhat of a tell-all memoir from what I remember at the time. Now, a week later after that, 2 more women came forward and accused Diddy of sexual abuse in a separate lawsuit. Both of those lawsuits were filed last November on the eve of the expiration of the Adult Survivors Act. It's a New York law allowing victims of sexual abuse a 1-year window to file civil action regardless of the statute of limitations. That was somewhat of a groundbreaking law in New York, passed to allow those victims of sexual abuse and sexual assault to file their claims no matter what, that the statute of limitations had expired. So I'm only saying this because I think it's important to let you know what has been going on with some of the claims levied against Diddy over the last 3 to 4 months. Fast forward to today, March the 25th, Monday. We get word from Fox 11 in Los Angeles that something is going on at a very large mansion in the Holmby Hills section of Los Angeles. We do our digging. We hear from Fox 11. This is a residence affiliated with Diddy, the media and music mogul. Then, 30 minutes later, we find out live happening in Miami, investigators are doing the very same thing across the country in what we are told, Fox 11 Los Angeles, saying this is a investigation, federal one at that, into sex trafficking. In the meanwhile here, like I said, we are bringing on some of our experts, legal analysts, law enforcement experts who know a thing or two about these probes.
Give a little shout out to Sarah, the Artsy Ninja. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. And
we're going to hear some of these voices, though, right now, including our...
I'm like stoked because we just covered this lawsuit. It's crazy to see this ish that's going on.
As well, she joins me. Nicole, happy Monday. Good to see you. What a major, major development in such a story. I know Diddy has been going on with some of these legal sagas over the last 3 or 4 months. Then we get word of this. And like I said, I'm not saying they're related. I think it's important, contextually speaking, to bring them up. But from what you are seeing right now, what does your gut tell you, Nicole?
My gut tells me that it's absolutely related. I mean, it is typical, but never a good sign when the feds show up at both of your residences with search warrants at the same time. This is done so that evidence is not lost or destroyed. It's also done by surprise so that any witnesses at either of these locations can be interviewed while they're not expecting it. So this is exactly what I would expect for warrants of this nature, and they're looking for laptops, thumb drives, images, documents, anything to verify the types of complaints that they're investigating.
You know, Nicole, you've prosecuted and dealt with a lot of these cases in the past. And for our viewers who don't know, what is the legal bar to reach the statute definition of sex trafficking in the United States? What do you need if you're some of these investigators who are poring over some of these devices, presumably that they have seized, hardware, software, a lot of drives, I would imagine, photos they are taking all over these residences? What do you even look for?
You're looking for evidence of compelled prostitution, essentially, or for potentially minors being asked to engage in sex acts. You're looking for anything that would demonstrate that there is essentially a sex trade being operated either out of those locations or that there's evidence at these locations to show that that's what was happening here. And, you know, one reason that this could be investigated by federal law enforcement as opposed to state and local law enforcement is because they believe that there is some activity that crossed state lines, for example.
I know, I think that's really kind of enlightening here, too, because this is something you just don't see every day. And I don't want to speculate on kind of the scope of the probe or the investigation, but could one be led to believe that with the number of law enforcement officers on scene, the amount of people that they brought to conduct a raid like this, is that indicative of the scope of the raid, or is this just normal everyday business about how these raids are conducted? I know you're not a law enforcement expert, but you're looking at this right now and you're seeing the amount of manpower to carry something like this out. I know these are mansions, and you have to go through almost every room, and you have to sweep the grounds, and you have to make sure no one is a threat when you make a raid like this, but should we look into something like that?
Law enforcement, as a general rule, wants to make sure that they're completely prepared for what they're about to encounter, and that usually involves and does involve a great deal of intelligence gathering prior to going to the property. And just looking at what you're seeing on the screen, what I'm seeing on the screen right now, are both of these properties are huge. It's also very possible that both of these properties have other individuals walking around. So, you know, in the residences, it's going to be really important that they have enough manpower there, not only to search thoroughly these very large businesses, or buildings rather, not businesses, residences, but that they have manpower there to interview anyone that they encounter and be able to secure them away from each other. So one thing you don't want as law enforcement is to have all of the witnesses that you're seeing at this residence, for example, corralled in one location so that they can talk to each other and trade information as you're setting out on your investigation. You want to make sure all these witnesses are separated so that you can start interviewing them and get their point of view uniquely.
You know, Nicole, we also saw on the video here that law enforcement in Los Angeles, in the Holmby Hills home, they detained people around the house or in the house. Now, you know, they're not necessarily, and correct me if I'm wrong, they wouldn't be considered suspects. Is that normally how law enforcement would do this? They would detain people on the scene just for questioning and then maybe release them later, or do they know who they're looking for? Are they going to these raids to arrest people, is what I'm asking?
Sometimes the answer is both. And sometimes the warrant actually says it's a search and arrest warrant. So they're there to actually arrest certain individuals who they do believe are suspects. And sometimes they're just search warrants, which means they're there to gather information. They have some very particular information they have to give a judge in order to get a judge to sign off on a warrant, because you can see there by looking at the screen yourself. I mean, this is a very invasive process. They're going into the home of an individual, and there has to be reason enough to believe that what they're looking for is going to be in that home.
People said free
and they have to secure all of the individuals walking around in that home or detain them to make sure that they don't dispose of evidence. or move evidence or do something to potentially damage the investigation. So it may not be that everyone in that home is a suspect. It could be that everyone in the home is a suspect, or it could be some combination.
Okay, that makes sense. We're getting some reporting in from our friend Megan Cuniff. She's a legal affairs journalist in Los Angeles. She says this, and if we could go back to the one about the jurisdiction, because I think the jurisdiction is really, really important. It might not necessarily be that, prosecutors in LA or Miami are bringing this. This could be somewhere else, and they could have asked the, local state law enforcement to conduct this. Megan Cuniff says this, Nicole: Diddy's home is being raided in Los Angeles, but I've confirmed with the U.S. Attorney's Office the case is not out of LA's Central District of California. And Megan says the Southern District of New York is most likely. Now, that would track with the statement Fox 11 Los Angeles reporter Haley Winslow on the scene got from Homeland Security investigators from New York. So that would potentially lead us to believe that this could be coming out of New York. That's where the nucleus of the investigation is, so to speak. I don't want to say that's confirmed, but that's what we're somewhat hearing.
I think that's absolutely possible. And it's possible that even though there's not maybe a federal investigation going on in the California district or even in Miami, they have given a judge enough information to believe that it is reasonable to expect that evidence of the crime being prosecuted or investigated in New York is at these two locations. That's what they would have to show the judge in order to get the warrant. And it could be that maybe not now, they're not looking at a particular charge in either of these districts in Florida or in California. But, really, it depends on what they find here. Right now, they believe evidence of a crime committed in New York is to be found at the location in Los Angeles and Miami. It's possible that what they uncover could lead them to believe that also there was a potential crime in those jurisdictions, and they would not be foreclosed from being able to investigate those crimes, even though that's not what the warrant initially set out to find.
So is it customary for where the warrants are served, you would make the leap that the crimes were committed in these places, correct? That's safe to say, the alleged crimes, so to speak. That's why the raids are being held as we speak?
Not necessarily. It could be that they believe evidence of those crimes can be found in those locations. So in other words, it could be a crime they believe occurred in New York, but they have reason to believe, and it's strong enough information that they were able to get a judge to sign off on a warrant to indicate that evidence of the crime that is being investigated in New York can be found in Los Angeles or Miami. So it's not necessarily so that they believe the crime itself happened in either Los Angeles or Miami, although it could evolve that later turns out to be see.
Nicole, like I said, you have a lot of experience in prosecuting these cases. But we are watching federal agents raid 2 mansions, thousands of square feet, multiple acres. That's a lot of ground to cover. There are going to be, you could imagine, thousands of pieces of evidence. I mean, these are large properties here.
That's completely true. And I've had an opportunity to defend quite a few of these cases. And these cases are indeed complex. Not only do you have an instance where you have just the idea that these cases can have terabytes and terabytes of information, which are later produced to the defense team, but you have 2 locations now that are just very large where they're gathering this information from. So I can explain.
Of course, they're switching to the Miami feed. I think the LA feed is leaving for now to probably refuel. 50 Cent made a post and said, now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case. Feds! I mean, raiding 2 homes at the same time. Same time, man.
Like now that this is looking like a bi-coastal operation and investigation, how hard is it, Nicole, to get everyone on the same page, to get everyone on board with this is what we're looking for, this, maybe who we need to question, who we need to detain? Is that a very heavy lift, so to speak?
It is a heavy lift, and you can imagine that there were hours and hours of planning that went into the execution, right down to who would be involved on each team, because it has to be something that is not leaked. It is coordinated as to timing, and you have two completely different time zones. And so you want to make sure that every person on each of those teams is going in at the same time, because you don't want whoever you're trying to investigate to learn that you're looking for documents in one location, because they could quickly secrete them or hide them, destroy them in the secondary location. So this has to happen at the same time. It also is best if it happens at the same time, because you don't want witnesses talking to each other about what the other one said before law enforcement has an opportunity to talk to these folks. So it is a very heavy lift. It takes a lot of coordination, and you want to make sure that everyone on the team knows what their role is and what they're supposed to be doing and not supposed to be doing.
Okay, so we're taking a live picture right now, Nicole, there in Miami at the residence, one of the residences of Diddy there. I want to show for the viewers that we're going to bring you on camera here, Nicole. We want to thank you for being with us. We're going to keep you around for just a little bit longer, because this is a developing story, a breaking story at the moment. We're going to get back to that live picture in just a moment. I want to show our viewers and take them back about how we even came to be familiar and acquainted with this story. We were watching this on one of our feeds, about an hour ago now, and we were watching agents raid a home, so to speak. We have that moment. I want to get you to respond to that moment. This is it here. So take a look at this. All right. You see there so many of these agents. They're trying to break down one of these front doors, or at least gain access to it. And so presumably, you know, this is what they train for. This is how they go about this. Do they have to do this in every raid, so to speak? You know, if you're not getting pushback or opposition, or there's no danger posed from any of the individuals in the house, why do they have to have such manpower like this?
Well, it does not mean that they believe that there's danger involved, but you can see that these officers are not taking anything for granted. They're there in uniform. They're clearly identifiable as law enforcement. They have what appears to be bulletproof vests on, just in case something goes wrong. They have a certain lineup. They know in that stack, if you will, person who is going to be in front, all the way down to the person who is going to be at the back. They know who's responsible for breaching the doorway. And it's not the kind of thing, you can see there's such a difference all the way from where the gate to that property that we're looking at now is all the way to the front door of the actual residence. There's some time. So what law enforcement does not typically want to do is ring the doorbell and have a little chat with whoever's on the inside of the house, so that if somebody has a flash drive or something that they might want to flush down the toilet or otherwise remove from the residence or somehow hide, they have time to deal with it. These law enforcement officers have a plan, and they're executing a plan where they also want the element of surprise to be on their side.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. You know, being in the news, I think the last kind of federal raid in the public consciousness was the raid at Mar-a-Lago in South Florida back in August of 2022, and we saw that kind of all unfold as well. Of course, I'm not comparing these two situations or scenes by any means, but these were essentially, Nicole, raids that we all watched in real time. And so I think a lot of the American people and viewers became pretty well acquainted with how law enforcement does this. Now, let's talk about the probe itself. We're getting that from our sources at Fox 11, that this is an investigation regarding allegations of sex trafficking federally. Now, is that federal aspect important to this? Obviously, states have their own laws on the books when it comes to sex trafficking. But if the feds are looking into this, into homes associated with such a high-profile person, you just have to kind of make the leap that this is going to be a story for a very long time. What is so particular about the federal aspect of this?
Again, it's very likely that it is federal because they believe there was some element of crossing state lines with some of the conduct. And again, without seeing the warrant, if we don't see the warrant, we can't see the affidavit. We don't know exactly what the government is alleging occurred here. We're taking a guess based on some civil lawsuit information that this is probably what this is about. It's clearly a criminal investigation at this point. Because you see this law enforcement individuals making entry and conducting this warrant, this search warrant at a minimum. We don't know if it's also an arrest warrant. And so it has to be that there's some interstate commerce or some crossing of state lines that was affected to make this a federal case. And the reality is that even though a person may have a peaceful reputation, I know nothing about Mr. Combs' reputation. Law enforcement needs to go in as if the situation could turn violent at any time because these types of allegations are incredibly serious. Somebody who is ultimately arrested for human trafficking could very well, depending on the charges, go to prison for the rest of their lives. And that's a desperate corner for individuals to be in, and even people who might otherwise not have had a history of any sort of violent reaction. Law enforcement has to be prepared for the unexpected. And so that's what you're seeing here.
You know, Nicole, I was using some of the history and context of what Diddy has gone through over the last 3 months to kind of bring into this story a little bit. And, you know, we don't want to jump to conclusions or you know, draw connections that aren't there. But he has suffered a lot of legal drama, so to speak, over the last 3 months. You know, almost like weekly, allegations being made, lawsuits being filed against him for allegations, Nicole, that go back to the early to late 90s. And we mentioned that a lot of states now have some of these laws on the books where they open a window of time, say a year, and victims can come forward no matter the statute of limitations. Do you think we could possibly be seeing that be taken advantage of, any laws like that in a case like this?
Well, it depends on if the government believes that there was some kind of a conspiracy to continue with human trafficking or essentially to bring people into compelled prostitution. If they believe that there is an ongoing conspiracy, for example, among people to do this, you know, and there's evidence at either of these Combs residents of that thing that they're accusing them of over the long term, it can tack back in time that way. So in other words, if, you know, the conspiracy they're alleging is still ongoing this last year, and I don't know what they're alleging, because again, we haven't seen any documentation of that, but they could say, well, it's the same conspiracy that's been ongoing for 20 plus years. And so, you know, that would mean that potentially, although there would definitely be arguments in court, that they could say, well, this is the same conspiracy. It was going on as of yesterday. And for that reason, we believe that we are going to be able to continue to prosecute no matter how old some of the initial complainants in the conspiracy were at the time. So those could be 20 years old. I mean, these cases are incredibly burdensome for a defense team. They're expensive, they're enormously stressful. I mean, if you can imagine also, you know, he's presumed innocent. It is presumed that he's done absolutely nothing wrong,
innocent.
Which is really a hard thing for us to imagine watching what we're watching right now on camera. And for a defendant accused in a case of this nature, you know, especially with so much time potentially being at issue for witnesses to make claims, it's almost like having to prove a negative that it didn't happen, even though that's not what our Constitution or criminal court rules require.
So, of course, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but you are saying the very fact that these homes affiliated with Diddy are being rated in this fashion, it would be hard to, you know, down the line, you would be surprised, to, so to speak, if Diddy wasn't somewhat implicated in that. That's what my line of questioning is to you. You know, how likely is it that a family member, an employee, a staffer on the grounds, or so to speak, that they are involved primarily and that the homes just so happen to be owned by Sean Diddy Combs? Is that unlikely or likely in your history?
Just the fact that they're his residences that does bring concern that they believe, anyway, that evidence of a serious federal crime is located in Combs's home, which leads one to believe that at a minimum they think that potentially there is some involvement. I mean, his home is involved because they got a judge to sign off on a warrant saying evidence of this serious crime is in it.
Sure.
So he's got a battle ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to step away right now from these live pictures. Nicole, I want to get your thoughts on this piece of video from how this all kicked off here. Okay, so you see there, this is in the Holmby Hills neighborhood there in Los Angeles. Investigators detained someone, Nicole, and you see this right here. This is video. This is not live. This is from earlier. And I guess my question to you is, what comes first, kind of the chicken or the egg, the indictment or the raid, or the indictment? Which comes first? Because you see there, they're detaining people on the ground. This was maybe an hour ago. No doubt they're going to be questioned, possibly booked, not sure if they're going to be charged. We just don't know any of that. But presumably one has to happen for the other, right?
Believe it or not, it doesn't. They can actually they can execute a search warrant without charges being filed based on essentially a criminal complaint. So, no indictment in that instance. And sometimes they indict a case and they don't have everybody that they think is responsible listed in that indictment, or the grand jury hasn't indicted everybody who they think is a part of the case. And so, just because you're seeing people on TV right now who are, being arrested, searched, handcuffed, detained, set aside, doesn't mean that they're criminal defendants or criminal suspects. It could very well be that those are witnesses that were watching them secure.
Okay.
So there's no way to know yet, who is being charged, if there has been a charge. And sometimes indictments have been issued but are sealed and have to be unsealed by a federal judge so that we know what are the charges.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back out live to the pictures we have there, both in Los Angeles and in Miami. Nicole DeBoard with us here on the phone. Can't thank you enough. This has been really invaluable for helping us make sense of this. But if you're Diddy's legal team right now, they've been working overtime for the last, 3-4 months in unrelated cases. Now I would imagine that, their year has gotten so much more difficult. What lies ahead for them? How much harder is their job going to be, depending on whatever the charges are, whoever the defendants may be going forward?
They're just going to have a massive amount of information to sift through, and that's if the government gives it to them. So the government first is going to get all of this information, and this can get really complicated for the legal team. So, up until this morning, when all of these raids started, the legal team had access to, if they wanted to go to Mr. Combs and say, I would like to see what you have on this computer. He could go to his computer and he could get it. Well, you can bet that all of those items are going to be removed from these residences. And so now they're not accessible to the legal team until the government turns it over and the agents turn it over for review and for discovery. And that can take a while. So when the government takes possession of all the materials that you're using to try to understand allegations like this, the burden is just incredible. So it's going to take a ton of time for these lawyers and their legal teams to sift through this information and to try to calculate what they're even missing. What did the government take that we need access to make sure that Mr. Combs...
You know what I want to know, too? This is all good and great, and Diddy's going to have his day. What about Dan Schneider? Are they raiding his ass and his home? What about Nickelodeon? Are they coming there with helicopters and Bearcats and all this shit? I want to see that, too. I want to see the Nickelodeon mansion raided and shit.
Real time as we speak, so I think that is, somewhat significant in the nature of this story and the possible...
But I guess maybe there's more evidence with Diddy, even though these are minors with the Nickelodeon stuff, right? Where's the raids and the helicopters and the SWAT and Navy Force and all these? I want to see them too for Nickelodeon.
Representatives there, but you can see there, Nicole, kind of a large mass of these investigators walking into the driveway and going into the home right there as well. Depending, and we were talking about
not over here chilling on the island.
These homes are massive. So would you presume that these raids, these searches, they're going to go on for hours? You can make that.
They're going to go for possibly days.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
the reality is that they need to, open every drawer. I mean, they're looking for things most likely like.
They open it, coming in with helicopters and Bearcats and all this shit. Wait, why am I want to see background?
They open every drawer. I mean, they're looking for things items of that nature could be concealed. They have to look. And in a house like this, I would imagine there are many drawers, many cabinets, many closets, and potentially many electronic devices. They're going to be looking for phones. They're going to be looking for tablets. They're going to be looking for security footage. They're going to be looking for anything that might record data or receive an email or send a text. So there is just a ton of work ahead for these investigators.
All right, Nicole DeBoard, we can't thank you enough. And maybe we'll check in a little bit later or tomorrow, depending on how this story unfolds here. Nicole DeBoard, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, in the meantime here, we're going to stay with this story. We're also going to pivot to another major breaking news story that's been on.
All right, by the way, where's the other feed I had? Okay, let me get the other feed. There is other helicopters heading over to the scene. Where's that feed I just had? I had a Miami feed right now. See if they're still up. They came down. They went offline. Let me check here. Let me see what Wilson said. Wilson says, okay, I got a link. Give me a second. I do have a link, guys. Okay, give me 1 second. I have a link. Now, Wilson, am I okay to use this, or is this guy going to have a problem? That's not a don't use my feed. Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. I'll come with the feed. I got to send it to myself. Feed. Okay, email it. Open it up. Diddy's working overtime. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna bring it up right now. Sorry about my face. This is Miami. Or no, sorry. This is Cali. Quality is horrible. Sorry, but we gotta do what we gotta do. Let me just check. Okay, cool. Thank you for letting me use it. If he want shout outs or links or whatever, I'll hook him up. There's no audio with this feed though. So we'll just work with what we got. Okay, let me take this off here for a second. Hold on. Take this off. Trying to like have less tabs open. Oh my God, sorry. Mama's love. They're probably going to be there, like they were saying, for hours. Diddy raid. And as they were saying too, here's another one. Fox is live. Okay, Fox, a different feed has. Let's see, are they talking? They're not talking. Okay, they're looking at the same thing we are, I think. A different Fox station. Let's see, hold on. Okay. I mean, I could put up two screens. Oh, you sent me a link from Miami. Thank you. Okay, we got another feed. Two feeds. All right, so let me do this. I'm going to have Miami on one side. Give me 1 second. Okay. Boom, so we got... I think those are both Miami, though, right? Are these both Miami or one's LA? I can't tell. Yeah, no, actually, there is a difference. Yeah. There is a difference. Right screen. Display capture. Oh my God, sorry. There we go. Give me 1 second. Fixing it up. Miami home. Yeah, the Miami homes have like this brown top thing, I think. And I think LA has like this kind of grayish top. Yeah. So this Cali's on the big screen, and on the small screen is Miami. And thank you, Wilson and BL. Okay. I was getting my feeds a little situated, the computer a little situated. And I guess I'll have to have the chat up in the middle. Oh, I messed up the other feed here. Let me look them up. Here. Okay, and I forgot it. I gotta get the super chats too. This is, just the beginning of what's to come. I'm sure the alleged victims are probably happy because honestly, they could probably use this, depending on where this goes, they could probably use this for their lawsuits, and vice versa, maybe. I don't know how it works. Faith, thank you again so much. Katrina, thank you for the 5-month membership, says P Dirty is in trouble. Christina Bird, thank you for the 50, says take the monsters down. Mustard Mama, thank you for the 10, says you just gave me CSI Miami flashbacks. Natalie, thank you for the 3 months, says we made it. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you. Appreciate that. Ilex says, congrats on Academics shout out, doing big things. Well, Academics, somebody screen recorded it for me. He probably saw my second page. He probably doesn't even know I have a main page, but he probably sees the 17,000. He's like, what the hell? But he said, shout out to my guy. And then he's like, well, we got the link now. So he switched it. And he said, no disrespect. And I'll take it. That's cool. Because I watch that guy all the time. I would have never thought I'd see myself on his stream, even though I know somebody probably just sent them the link. But that was cool. Let's see what else. Kelly E, thank you for the membership. 3 months, says woohoo, 3 months on the new channel. Love to you. Thank you. A Rose, Egypt Mania, Kathy, thank you for the memberships. Nicolina, thank you for the 5, says whoa. Colorado Trucker, thank you for the super chat, says Cat Williams told you mofos. He did. He said when Diddy asked the party, say no. Snickerdoodle, thank you for the super chat, says those on the Diddy bandwagon are super. Yeah, there's people saying free Diddy and we're sticking with Diddy. There's some people that, ride with him. He is innocent until proven guilty, but I mean, just over the years, and I'm somebody that's just followed this stuff casually. I'm not even somebody that's like, looked at this in depth, but over the years, I've always heard things about Diddy. I mean, you could just look at some of his interviews and some of the sus things that he says, like what he said to Fabulous. Like, come on, man, let's party, man. But I did go to the party with you. No, but I really want to party, man. No, but and the other one where he's like, ooh, I love how you scramble and scrape, Daddy. I like how you scramble and scrape for help. That was weird, man. Let me see if I can pull it up. I could just play a snippet. Diddy scramble and scrape? Scrambling and scraping?
I got Mr. Lee.
Yeah, I love this drink.
Will you put my bag?
I like when you like this, Daddy.
Yeah, will you put my bag?
Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping for shit.
No,
I like that.
I'll be practicing. I got.
Yeah.
They're all just trying to ignore the weird stuff that this guy just said.
Mr. Lee.
Yeah, I love this drink.
Will you put my bag?
I like when you like this, Daddy.
Yeah, will you put my bag?
Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping. When you
scrambling
and scraping for shit.
No. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna go over with that one.
Make a wish.
That one.
Just blow it out. It's your birthday every day. Okay. This for your birthday, man.
It's a lot of things over there. Even the Justin Bieber stuff, but even outside of all that, once I saw these lawsuits, it was like, I don't know. It was just, things were very questionable, you know? And honestly, I knew this guy had money, but I didn't know he had it like that. Seeing all these mansions, just two of the mansions, like he probably has more. I mean, damn. I mean, I guess he has a lot of, it's not just music. He had a lot of business dealings with, like, was it Ciroc? I think he had the Ciroc stuff. Yeah, the feed is choppy. There's kind of nothing we can do about it. Lucky to even have that, to be honest with you. Okay. All right, let me finish off with the super chats. Smoke and Mirrors YouTube's thank you for the 5 says Jello Pudding Pops 2024. Sarah the Artsy Ninja, thank you for the 5 says thanks for the shout out. Thank you. I appreciate you watching. Gypsy Lola, thank you for the 4 months says Biggie, Tupac, Kim, and other souls celebrating. Amy L 2020, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for the 20 says warrant issued in New York federal court based on 3 women and 1 man interviewed. Trafficking, narcotics, firearms. Wow. I mean, with that last lawsuit too, there was somebody that like, I think they say he was like shot. There was like a murder, well, it wasn't murder. I guess I don't know if it was the guy died or not. The guy was shot allegedly in P. Diddy's studio. Diddy. Oh, excellent news. Audio's really bad, but AXN's out there in person at the Diddy compound. I want to go see Diddy.
Address is 200 something. This house right here is 248 over where that white police RV is. You guys probably already heard everything the news shoppers are on here.
Ooh, the bear truck. Ooh. That one, yeah. So AXN News, that's the homie in Cali. He's on scene outside of Diddy's house. Damn. Let's see what else we got. The feds coming. Somebody claiming he left the country already. They said it as a joke. I don't know that that's true, but I mean, if I was him, I'd consider it, getting the hell out. I think we got another feed too. We got another live feed. Oh, it's the same one as this one. Okay. So let me do that. A little bit less blurry. Wow, look at that. A lot of guys on scene. They got a little desk set out. They got all these envelopes. I guess they're collecting stuff. Damn, I wonder how many people. Probably like a couple hundred people out there. It's gonna be hard for Diddy to come back from this. Take that. Oh man, you know what's funny too? This other skit. Crystals, Crime Time Music, and AI Art. Thank you for the 10. Says, you think this got anything to do with Pac? I mean, Kiefer D could be speaking in jail. Maybe a whole lot of people snitching. I think it has to do with the lawsuits, but who knows? Kiefer D, he might snitch too. His trial got pushed back. It was supposed to be, I think, in June, I thought. I don't know. I think now it's pushed back to May, the Tupac trial. People always thought, Diddy had some type of connection to that.
It's not good. I would say there's a very high likelihood that he might get arrested after this. Because what people need to understand is you need a significant amount of probable cause to go into someone's home, right? So when you look at like getting a search warrant, right, for like a phone, or is getting a search warrant for like a computer, or getting a search warrant for a house or an email, etc., the house is always at the top of the hierarchy because that's considered your castle, right? So for you to be able to get a search warrant on a home, it requires by far the most probable cause. I'll say the only thing that beats out a house is getting a wiretap for probable cause. So,
hey, can I ask you this?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So now here's also the thing that I think makes this very interesting. Like some of the allegations and what we've just heard publicly, they span all the way back to the 90s.
Yeah.
Now, because of the time span, how does that change the scenario? Because, like, again, if someone is like, yo, hey, listen, this happened, there might be a couple of VHS tapes this motherfucker kept of like him having these little orgies. It's like, what is the time span of this criminal, accusation? Because really, it spanned from the 90s to now. How would like HSI or any like government body treat that?
So that's a really good question.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Okay.
All right. So the most federal crimes have a 5-year statute of limitations.
By the way, the voice to me almost sounds like Fresh and Fit. It almost sounds like that to me because one of the guys, I thought he was like, he used to be a Fed or something. I don't know. It sounds almost, I don't know if he's just a random caller, but it sounds like.
Limitations, right? I'm looking, it looks like the FBI is out there too. I'm looking at this Fox News thing. It looks like that. Really? I can tell from their vest, it looks like the Bureau's out there too.
Oh,
okay.
Fuck.
So, all right. And the sheriff's office, it looks like. But anyway, most federal crimes have a 5-year statute of limitations, right? So, since most crimes have that statute of limitations, obviously if there were allegations from the 90s, they can't do anything. However, right, if the feds could prove that this has been a continuing conspiracy, that he's been doing this shit since then and he's still doing it up to 5 years ago, all that shit comes in. All that stuff comes in, right? Because they're gonna, and they could also, if they also wanted, they could go through a RICO way to do it as well. If they could identify other people in his organization that have been helping him out doing this crap, et cetera, RICO is also a way to get around the statute of limitations. That's how they were able to indict all these mafia guys for stuff that was going on,
that's Byron,
a decade prior, et cetera. And it's because they're able to establish, there's a continual conspiracy. They've been doing this shit for a while. He's still doing it. And then all that stuff comes in.
Man.
That's how they're able to get around the statute of limitations problems.
Yo, this looks bad. I'm going to be honest with you. Again, first of all, I was saying about...
somebody in his chat, somebody said they walked out the house with a bin full of sex toys. I don't know. I mean, honestly, Diddy's probably one of those people. And Diddy probably got that shit not like even stored. I remember I had a friend that told me that she had a guy friend that like she was hanging out with the guy or whatever, and she goes to use his restroom, and this dude had like all these toys in the bathtub and stuff, just laid out all over the place, and it wasn't even like the curtain was pulled. The curtain was like open on some Diddy shit. So I imagine. I wonder how many rooms this mansion has, these two mansions. Imagine the kind of stuff you're finding in this place, in the crevices. I don't know if there's a basement, in the different rooms, in the boxes. Is there substances? All they got to do is find some drugs too. And then the whole RICO thing. Look how long they had Young Thug on his trial. How many weeks? I don't even know how long. I feel like that shit's been going on for months. So bad that they even had this this witness that was high testifying on the Young Thug. Dude was high out of his mind. The state. People thought that it was like Young Thug's people that was testifying that was high as hell. No, it was the state's witness that was high as shit. And the enforcers got to testify for I don't know how many days. They're gonna probably have to have gloves. They're gonna have boots on, long pants, maybe a mask in some of those rooms. I feel like I should look up. Let me look up something we can listen to as well. Usher Diddy party. Usher describing the parties over there. I think when he was underage at the time. This was when he was underage.
Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
13.
And I saw it.
13.
And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans.
And your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem.
Yeah.
I had like,
what
like
a
living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
See?
Puffy Camp. Yeah, what's going on in the Puffy Camp? P. Diddy, the experience of P. Diddy, huh? I think a lot of these parents did what they did because they so in some cases I think they sold out their kids, just like the Nickelodeon stuff. I think some of these parents sold out their kids for an opportunity to get a paycheck. Hello? Okay, give me 2 minutes. All right, let me play this for you guys.
Yeah, so as soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna let you rock this every time you come to LA. Yeah, this gonna be yours. So every time you come to LA, it's a little dusty, but you know, come get the front shot of this.
Man.
Minute.
Woo. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna be driving this next year.
Yeah, when you get 16.
Yeah, we should. I don't have a lot of fuel left, so
That's
I mean,
Justin Bieber.
it's got to be a pass and go. An address, and then I'll pass by it if you want.
I mean, I'm 15. You could ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit. Not yet.
No.
All right, 16.
You're not ready.
16.
Let's slow down. Let's slow down.
Does that mean that I'm
slow
clear
down,
here?
okay?
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when you get 16. You're good to go.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All right.
And then when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay. I get the mansion?
Yeah.
All right. So where are we off to now?
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where are we going?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
Going crazy.
Oh, really?
Crazy.
Where?
I'm taking
The freak out party?
What you want to do? What you want to do over the next 48 hours?
48 hours. Let's go. Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang with some girls.
I don't know. It could be innocent. You know, it could be, I don't know, a guy trying to show a kid out, I guess. I don't know. Or, you know, the opportunity, I guess. Sharon, thank you for the 5. Thank you for the super chat. So the Miami chopper is leaving. We have the Cali chopper up still. They had to go refuel. This raid is probably going to take quite a bit of time. And the coordination that they did is crazy. Like, multi-state, multi-jurisdiction. What's
up, y'all? Coming to y'all live from London. Extremely humble, grateful, and blessed.
We are breaking down all of the recent allegations against Sean P. Diddy Combs as he faces now several lawsuits, including a bombshell one dropped by a former producer accusing him of sexual assault and sex trafficking. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jeff.
All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to let this chopper keep playing. I got to run downstairs for a second. When I come back, we'll listen to all the allegations together, or some of the bigger allegations against Diddy. And I have to push the other stream back because we're caught up over here now with this Diddy stuff. And like I said, this is just the beginning. I can imagine all the stuff that's going to come from this. This could take. I'm not talking about the raid specifically, just the cases, the lawsuits. I don't know, maybe take years. Diddy, I don't know what Diddy's going to do. I don't know if he's going to have to run. Run, Diddy! And I think I'm going to have to tune into Star Troy Terrain's stream. I don't know when he's going to stream, but I know he's going to have a comment about this. I'm really curious about what this guy's going to say. Troy Terrain.
Double up and save.
I think I have another feed too for Miami coming up. Troy Terrain. And I think it was 50 Cent that said P. Diddy tried to take him out shopping. I want to take you shopping. I'll come back. I'll come in a second. I'll play that clip. I want to take you shopping. Oh, they ended it? All right, hold on. I got another feed. They stopped it already? Oh. Hold on, not that one. I got something else. Oh, here it is. Well, this one's live, but I saw another news station. And then we're going to play some of this clip. Oh, here it is. It's different, actually. Okay, hold on. I want to know. Okay, this is Cali.
Now, we don't have any exact details about what this was all about. It's not clear yet if it's been filed in federal court, but as we have been reporting, there is some possibility there's a connection to these sexual abuse allegations that turned into lawsuits that were settled by Combs earlier. Now, we have a statement also coming from the attorneys for at least 3 of those individuals that were involved in those sexual abuse lawsuits. And this is that quoted statement. We can appreciate today's raids by the federal government. However, today's events are not going to prevent nor delay my client's pending and forthcoming actions for justice and resolution from the Combs RICO enterprise. So that, of course, a reference to the RICO charges that he is also facing, racketeering and influence corruption situation also out of the East Coast. Whether that's connected to what happened here or not is pure speculation, though. We did manage to speak with some neighbors in the area who talked about things, including overnight parties, young women out on the streets at all hours of the night and on into the morning. And whether or not that is connected to P. Diddy Combs himself is another question. All of this completely speculation to this point. We are waiting for any kind of word that could come directly from federal investigators or even the U.S. Attorney here in Los Angeles who can give us some answers to all of these questions. But right now, this road completely blocked off to all traffic, and I would recommend if you're just a looky-loo planning to get some selfies or something, you should probably avoid this area. You can't get in and you can't get out.
All right, I want to listen to some of the allegations with you guys. And by the way, if one of the feeds, okay, they're switching around, drops off, be a little patient with me. We'll find the other one. Oh, this one just changed. All right, so we'll use. I actually do want to listen to some of the allegations together with you guys. But let me just. All right, let's do this. So this is Miami. It's Miami right now. And I wanted to listen to some of these allegations. Diddy allegations. And I'll start looking for another feed as well. We're just kind of switching in and out.
Jesse Weber. So if you've been on social media recently or you've been perusing different news sites, you may have seen a lot about P. Diddy and these sexual misconduct allegations. There is a lot there, so we thought let's break it down for you as to what is actually going on. These are going to be the biggest accusations currently against P. Diddy. So P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Diddy, real name Sean Combs, is of course a well-known music mogul, founder of Bad Boy Records, an influential producer, the founder of a clothing line, a singer and actor. Now you might recall that we previously reported on a huge lawsuit filed against Combs by his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura back on November 16, 2023. At the time, Ventura alleged that Combs physically and sexually abused her, including forcing her into sexual slavery.
And I feel like it was almost like one day after that lawsuit came out, Diddy settled. I forgot how many millions. It's an undisclosed amount, but she got a lot of money.
And sex trafficking. And some of the more alarming allegations in that federal lawsuit included Combs allegedly raping Ventura in her home after she tried to leave him, savagely beating her, resulting in bruises and burst lips, forcing her to have sex
this
with
the LA home? Thank you,
on
BL.
video while he watched and
I messed it up,
masturbated, forced her to carry a...
Oh, God, this is so vile. Yeah, you're right. This is Cali. Miami is like the brown tops of the roof or whatever. Jeez,
a gun for him and tried to chase down music producer Suge Knight with a gun. Even she accused
Suge Knight? Hold up.
Gun for him and tried to video while he watched and Suge Knight with a gun, forced her to carry a gun for him and tried to chase down music producer Suge Knight with a gun.
What? Suge Knight? Like Death Row Records? Suge Knight? I didn't know that. You guys ever seen that video where Suge Knight, somebody was trying to like shoot at him or something, and so he ran over somebody, but they found him. I think they found him guilty of that. I never understood that. What did he do? Aren't you like what? Suge? I can't play it, but Suge Knight. Somebody tried to shoot him, so he ran over the ass. What's wrong with that? Running over. Did he get charged for that?
Even she accused him of blowing up rapper Kid Cudi's car because he found out that Cudi was interested in Ventura. Yeah, it was wild. We covered it here.
Yeah.
And she sued him under New York's Adult Survivors Act. That was a law that gave survivors of sexual assault a 1-year window to file lawsuits if their claims were otherwise time barred under the statute of limitations. Now, Ventura had told CBS at the time, quote, "After years in silence and darkness, I am finally ready to tell my story and to speak up on behalf of myself and for the benefit of other women who face violence and abuse in their relationships." With the expiration of New York's Adult Survivors Act fast approaching, it became clear that this was an opportunity to speak up about the trauma I have experienced and that I will be recovering from for the rest of my life. Now, just one day after filing this lawsuit in New York federal court, Combs and Ventura agreed to a settlement. Now, as with most settlements, it was confidential. We do not know the terms. Ventura released the statement saying, quote, "I have decided to resolve this matter amicably on terms that I have some level of control. I want to thank my family, fans, and lawyers for their unwavering support." Combs released his own.
Oh, you're right. Somebody mentioned Shine. Like, allegedly, Shine took the rap for P. Diddy, right? Shine tried shooting Puff. I didn't know that. But wasn't there an allegation, too, that, like, supposedly Shine tried to take, or he took the charges for P. Diddy or something, and that, like, J-Lo was covering for him as well?
Statement saying, quote, "We have decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Cassie and her family all the best. Love." Now, Ben Brafman, who is an attorney for Sean Combs, released a statement saying, quote, "Just so we're clear, a decision to settle a lawsuit, especially in 2023, is in no way an admission of wrongdoing. Mr. Combs' decision to settle the lawsuit does not in any way undermine his flat-out denial of the claims. He is happy they got to a mutual settlement and wishes Miss Ventura the best." But you have to imagine, in a way, although this came out and these allegations came out, this was a win for Combs in a way, right? Sure, really bad publicity, terrible allegations, but when you settle, it doesn't stay in the news. You don't go to trial. These details aren't revealed at a trial or even in pretrial discovery. This isn't like Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, where arguably one of the motivations for Johnny Depp to sue his ex-wife to take it to trial was to make sure all the evidence did come out, because he wanted to prove that he did not abuse her and he wanted to rehabilitate his image. This after Heard had alluded that she was a victim of domestic violence at his hands. This with Combs is very different. Definitely want to keep it quiet. But then what happens? Days after settling, Combs is hit with another lawsuit filed in New York. A woman named Joy Dickerson Neal claimed that Combs drugged and sexually assaulted her when she was in college back in 1991. She alleged Combs filmed the rape, shared the video with others as a form of revenge porn. Dickerson Neal claimed this severely affected her mental health and resulted in her leaving college. And like with Ventura, this lawsuit was filed pursuant to New York's Adult Survivors Act. But actually, this was filed in the Manhattan Supreme Court just one day before the window to sue closed. Diddy denied the allegations. In a statement from his spokesperson released to People, it said, quote, "This last-minute lawsuit is an example of how a well-intentioned law can be turned on its head. Ms. Dickerson's 32-year-old story is made up and not credible. Mr. Combs never assaulted her, and she implicates companies that did not exist. This is purely a money grab and nothing more." As far as we see, that lawsuit is still pending. But there is something to think about. Could these allegations be true? Yes, absolutely. Could the allegations against Ventura be true? Yes, absolutely. However, one of the reasons that we see celebrities and high-profile people decide to fight these cases and not settle is because they are concerned about the floodgates argument, right? If you settle with one person, you're going to have to settle with all
with everybody else.
We haven't seen a settlement in this case, but remember, this lawsuit came out after the Ventura settlement. Doesn't take away from the legitimacy of the claims, but just something to think about. But then what happens next, right? A third lawsuit comes out in New York. This time, an unidentified woman claims that Combs and singer-songwriter Aaron Hall raped her 30 years ago. Combs' spokesperson released another statement after this one, saying these are fabricated claims, falsely alleging misconduct from over 30 years ago and filed at the last minute. This is nothing but a money grab. Because of Mr. Combs' fame and success, he is an easy target for anonymous accusers who lie without conscience or consequence for financial benefit. It goes on to state, quote, "The New York legislature surely did not intend or expect the Adult Survivors Act to be exploited by scammers. The public should be skeptical and not rush to accept these bogus allegations." But then you fast forward to December.
Hold on 1 second. Something kind of happened here in AXN News. Let me see. Who's that, the lawyer? Diddy's lawyer? I don't know who that is.
What should we ask the lawyer?
Is he a lawyer? Go run.
Did you say he was a lawyer? That's it.
Come on, man. Don't run. Sir, look. Yeah, and where's Diddy at? I don't really know that Diddy was arrested. Somebody on Twitter was claiming he was. But I'm not sure that that's actually true.
Was somebody. He looked like a lawyer. I don't think.
Yeah, it should look like a Walt Disney entrance or something. That Diddy mansion.
He was part of law enforcement.
Press out there.
What do you guys think of Puff Daddy getting arrested?
Did they already arrest him?
They raided his house. HSI raided his house.
Arrested him yet, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if he's actually arrested or not.
He was detained, I believe.
Oh, okay.
What do you think of HSI raiding Puff Daddy's house?
Do the crime, you gotta do the time.
Yeah.
Innocent to proven guilty.
Oh,
that's true.
Let me tell you, I'm sure there's a lot of people just like R. Kelly. People, defending R. Kelly after the fact, and we love his music. He did good music, so hey, whatever. People love R. Kelly. FBI finally showing up, showing love to Diddy. It's about time. We've been waiting since Tupac and Biggie. I didn't think I'd live long enough. This could also be payback for making Shine take the rap. J-Lo could have testified for him. Yeah, there was a lot of allegations with J-Lo too. I guess she's a ride or die. Ready to take the heat. Jenny from the block. Whatever they called her.
December 2023. Another lawsuit comes out. Another unidentified woman has accused Combs, former Bad Boy Entertainment president Harvey Pierre, and another person of sex trafficking and gang raping her when she was just 17 years old. She said that she was flown from Michigan to New York City, supplied with drugs and alcohol, and then assaulted at Combs' recording studio. The same day of this lawsuit, Combs issued a statement on Instagram saying, quote, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat.
Let me pause here for a second. Ryan Garcia made a couple of tweets, and I was kind of following him a little bit. The guy, he has a boxing match coming up. Oh, he's talking about Diddy. We could listen to that too. Diddy. They raided to hide more. So what we need to do is pray for the law enforcement to grow some balls and leak out what's really out there. Diddy the puppet, Diddy the decoy to distract you. What's actually going on? Don't lose sight. What is done in the dark will always come to light. I never lied, never will. God will provide me comfort, and my battles are his, and he will win them for me. Diddy, done Diddy, gone to jail as he should. Oh, man. Ryan Garcia's happy. By the way, for the ladies out there, Ryan Garcia, did he delete the post already? Oh, he might have deleted it. Where's it at? I think he deleted it. I took a screenshot, though. Maybe the price got too expensive for him, but Ryan Garcia was out here offering BBLs and something else for the woman. Here you go. For the ladies out there, maybe he rescinded on his offer. Ryan Garcia, BBL. I'm going to save the picture. He might have rescinded on his offer. Maybe there was too many women hitting him up. Maybe he deleted the post. I'm giving out BBLs and boob jobs. Hit me up. No weird stuff. Just here supporting women. No disrespect. Either I respect all women, I support and love all women in the world. I'm just getting a lot of requests in my DM. Who with me? Ryan Garcia for presidency. So maybe he deleted this. I took a screenshot. He was offering BBLs in the name of Jesus Christ. Now, let's see what he's talking about here. Listen.
And you've seen things or you've done things to children or anybody that you haven't, repent. Come forward. Now is the time, please.
Quite frankly, Ryan, I don't think there's enough. I don't think enough repenting. If you ever did something with a kid, I don't think any repenting would help you.
The only
wash
sin
away
that's
those
unforgivable is the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. But Jesus did say that if you make any of these kids stumble, that who believes in me, it's better that you tie a large weight around your neck and go to the bottom of the ocean. So there is a thin line there. You know, at the end of the day, don't
Wilson said,
blaspheme
what's
the
his
Holy
number?
Spirit. I'm not protecting these dudes. Honestly, it's me. If it's me, I'm knocking all of them out, one by one, slowly. You know, I keep them up, and then I knock them out, and then I let them get up, and then I knock them out, and then I do it honestly and then I drug them up so they become numb, and then I knock them out for fun.
You know what's crazy, Ryan?
Like, that's what I would do. But again, it's just what it is. That's what I would do for a kid that is hurting little kids at the ages of 2. Personally, I would do that.
You know what's crazy, Ryan?
Is that controversial? I mean, is that what is that?
It's not. But here's the thing: Diddy has always left little breadcrumbs of being somebody who would be into that kind of shit, right? If you followed his career, right, and you followed a lot of the really suspect, homophobic, satanic ritualism that he's been kind of linked to throughout his career, this was kind of something that was bound to come out, right? He's just always been a weird rich dude, right? That's
Relax.
into weird.
Can I say one thing real quick again? Again, I'm encouraging everybody to share this space, please.
Share my
I'm gonna
live,
constantly do that, maybe every 10 to 20 minutes. This is gonna go maybe an hour long. Depends on how I feel, but I think it's very important. I think this is one of my most important spaces since the Andrew Tate one. I honestly think this is one of the most important spaces since the Andrew Tate one.
Quite frankly, it's the first space where something that you've almost alluded to for the past 3 weeks,
Yeah.
even
It's
months,
almost like
has
he knew
come to
this was
light, has
coming.
really come to light, right? This is the first kind of, hey, look, this type of shit is really going on, and Diddy I think, is just a drop in the bucket, if you will, right?
No, this is not even close to the nitty gritty. This is just the tipping. This is not even the tip of the iceberg. You understand what I'm saying? This ain't even the iceberg, bro. This is just what we already knew, and now it's just validation of what we already knew for people that just deny the truth constantly.
What y'all think?
It's
Y'all
like
stand
I
with
told
Garcia?
everybody the truth, then I provided so much evidence that you can't deny it, and then they say, "Oh, you crazy," and then I post me training that I'm not crazy, and then they say, "Oh, but you're on coke," and then I show them I'm not on coke. What more do you want? And
The
then they
evidence you say we're
unfollow
gonna
me for
provide?
making a post about BBL. What the heck is going on,
Oh, the BBL post. Yeah.
bro? What is going on?
All I gotta say is the
Philip,
house of
what is
cards.
going on?
The house of cards is tumbling down. Either get
Yes.
out of the way or be involved in it. That's all I
Yeah.
gotta say.
If you don't speak up, you're low key behind it.
They're trying to silence you, Ryan.
Bro, don't you see the bro, they shadow banned me, bro. On TikTok, how on TikTok I got less followers on Instagram and less engagement, yet on TikTok I get 30,000 viewers constantly. But when I get on Instagram, I'm at 3 to 2K. Somewhere, where the fuck does that make sense? Mark Zuckerberg's tripping, that reptilian.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
Mark
don't know if
Zuckerberg,
he's
he is a
reptilian, but
reptilian.
he do look like one.
He
I don't
does
mean
look
to
like a
get
lizard.
political in
I'll
here,
give him
Ryan,
that. I'll give him
but
that.
Instagram, Facebook, right? Those are left wing apps, right? No one uses those bullshit apps. They censor you. And a lot of left wingers, right? They're into that
Yeah,
pedophilic shit.
reptile.
They got kids. They support kids going to these alphabet letter parades, right?
Oh no, don't do that.
Having half naked
Uh-oh.
men and women dance in front of little
Like that's
children.
okay, bro. At the end of the day, do
Exactly.
whatever you want. Leave the
Yeah,
children
yeah.
alone. Do whatever the fuck you want in your life. You want to be you believe that you were born as a man, but now you want to be a woman. Do
Oh
whatever you want.
no. Oh
I'm not
Lord.
whatever. I mean, you got to do whatever you want, but leave the children alone, please.
I agree though.
Children
The
are
children.
innocent.
That's true.
They don't got nothing to do whatever how you feel. However you feel as a grown adult is how
Okay.
you feel.
All right.
But leave the children alone, because if you don't leave the children alone.
All right, I'm gonna back out for that for a second. Let's keep going on with this allegations of Diddy, and then we'll jump back and check in on them in a bit. And if you're on Twitter watching right now, if you guys could follow me, follow the page, please. I'd appreciate that. And if you're on IkidMelCC, make sure to subscribe. We just hit 18,000 today. We're almost at, where are we at on the main page? IkidMel, the main page. We're past 200, right? Or not yet? Yeah, we're 203. We're 203,000. But right now we're on the second page. So if you just don't forget to subscribe. All right, let's go.
Silently and watch people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth. By the way, a little side note about these lawsuits. They may be able to be legally brought, right? But they can still be difficult to prove. When you're talking about the age of these claims, witnesses' memories fade. Evidence gets stale. It's not impossible to prove the case, but it can be difficult. And I say that because, remember, you can have a witness and a victim testify or survivor testify. That could be sufficient in order to prove the claim. Maybe you have a few corroborating witnesses. That could be it. This isn't a criminal trial, by the way. The standard of proof in a civil case is much lower. Look at the E. Jean Carroll case against Donald Trump. And from an optics point of view, this arguably has hurt Sean Combs. I mean, he stepped down from his position as chairman of Revolt TV, the media company he had founded. He's now on the defensive, but that is not the end of the story. No.
Yeah, I thought he was like the top person at Revolt TV / Breakfast Club. I thought there was some type of affiliation.
No. It is just the beginning. Because now producer Rodney Little Rod Jones has filed a massive, reportedly $30 million federal lawsuit against Combs and others alleging sexual assault, harassment, and an illicit criminal enterprise. This lawsuit by Jones is 75 pages. It lists out 15 separate causes of action, and we're going to go through them. But this lawsuit is against Combs, his son Justin Combs, various associates, and entities like Chalice Recording Studios, Love Records, Motown Records, Combs Global Enterprises, and Universal Music Group. So the complaint starts off by explaining that Jones produced 9 songs for Combs on his Love album and actually lived with Sean Combs for a period of time. and how, quote, throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones witnessed, experienced, and endured many things that went far beyond his role as a producer on the Love album. Mr. Combs required Mr. Jones to record him constantly. On several occasions, Mr. Combs took Mr. Jones's cell phone and began recording himself. As a result, Mr. Jones has secured hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activity. Now, Jones says that those videos show drugs like ecstasy and cocaine, the displaying of unregistered firearms, Combs spiking drinks for minors and sex workers, Combs' son Christian drugging and sexually assaulting a woman, and even a...
Whoa. I mean, I read the whole thing, but hearing it again... Oof.
Now, Jones says that those videos show drugs like ecstasy and cocaine, the displaying of unregistered firearms, Combs spiking...
By the way, that's Cuba Gooding Berg, allegedly. Cuba Gooding Berg Jr. Bruh. And that guy has previous allegations as well. It's not the first time. It's not his first rodeo, allegedly. I don't know. Because I would think that, like, when you get to that status, why would you have to, like, I don't know if it's probably, like, innate. And some of these people are just creepy. Like, when you get to that status, do you really have to be desperate enough to, like, drug somebody and do it? Or maybe they get turned on by that, like drugging somebody or trying to get what they can't have. Because even some people have standards regardless of your status and money.
And cocaine, the displaying of unregistered firearms, Combs spiking drinks for minors and sex workers, Combs' son Christian drugging and sexually assaulting a woman, and even a famous actor sexually harassing and assaulting Jones. Now, Jones alleged numerous events in these papers. For example, Jones, who identifies as a heterosexual Christian man, claims that Combs repeatedly and intentionally groped his private parts without his consent, that this happened in LA, New York, Florida, the Virgin Islands, and that Combs also continually forced Jones to be in his presence while he was naked and showered. So with that, Jones is suing Combs for a claim of sexual assault and harassment. Jones says that this resulted in severe emotional distress and anxiety. And as we go through some of these claims, keep in mind what he alleged that he suffered as a result of Combs' action. This is the injury or harm element that you need for the purposes of damages. What happened to you? What did you suffer? Meaning, what could Jones recover? Let's keep that in mind. But Jones claims that Combs attempted to groom him into homosexual sex. And one of the ways that Jones says Combs tried to do that was by using producer Stephen Aaron Jordan, who Jones apparently looked up to. Combs allegedly showed Jones a video of Jordan engaging in a sex act with another man as a way to, quote, ease his anxiety concerning...
Bro, that was so wild to me. Who was the person? That's the thing. It's like, I feel like for a long time we've heard these things of, like, in Hollywood or the music industry, that they'll, like, record you in a compromising position and then they'll use it against you as, like, blackmail and stuff like that. Was it Stevie J or something? Man, when I was scrolling in that affidavit, I was like, oh my God. Diddy. Stevie J. Oh, he responded. What he said? Lil Rod claims he was forced to watch Stevie have sex with another man. A lawyer representing Stevie said these allegations are false, and my lawyer is handling this going forward. I don't know, man. I saw them pictures. Maybe it was another guy. Politicians do the same, right? That's the whole thing with Epstein Island.
Homosexuality. And included in this complaint are alleged screenshots of that purported video. By the way, Jones alleges that Combs has hidden cameras in every room of his various homes, and that he has secret recordings of celebrities and associates, this compromising footage of every person that has attended his parties, which, by the way, from a legal point of view, would be a violation of civil privacy laws and criminal privacy laws, perhaps even implicate revenge porn type statutes. Anyway, continuing on with this alleged grooming campaign, Combs even allegedly admitted that he had engaged in sexual intercourse with, quote, an unidentified Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj.
Yo, tell me in the chat right now, who do you believe they were referencing with this Philadelphia rapper?
Course with,
what
quote,
are your thoughts?
an
What comes to mind?
Combs even allegedly admitted that he had engaged in sexual intercourse with, quote, an unidentified Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj, as well as, quote, an R&B singer who performed at the Super Bowl. Now, there are those who have speculated online that Philly rapper is Meek Mill, and the R&B singer who performed at the Super Bowl could be Usher. On Twitter,
maybe Usher? Hold on.
Is Meek Mill, and the R&B singer who performed, as well as, quote, an R&B singer who performed.
Oh, so there's two people. There's two people.
Performed at the Super Bowl. Now, there are those who have speculated online that Philly rapper is Meek Mill, and the R&B singer who performed at the Super Bowl could be Usher. On Twitter, X, Meek Mill posted on his account, quote, one love to the gay people, but then talked about in graphic detail how he much prefers or loves a certain part of the female anatomy. He wrote, quote, every black blog site enhanced that post to make me seem gay. I change laws for our people. I donate millions. They are designed to destroy the image of black leaders. It can't work with me, though. You got to really kill me, and I still will get bigger after death. This God, not me. LOL. Now, one of the people to jump into.
And the thing with Meek, because I've been watching some of the DJ Academics and Meek Mill for a while. That's nothing new, that beef, but. And this guy Academics was going hard on him. The thing with Meek Mill is after this came out, he was like over the top saying how he loves women and loves Putang. And I really, really love it. I forgot, like on Twitter or somewhere else, like almost like compensating, like overdoing this shit. It was weird, but I'm like, okay, all right.
To the mix online was actually social media influencer and former kickboxer Andrew Tate. As you know, we covered Tate's legal troubles in Romania before here on Sidebar, as he's facing charges of rape, sex trafficking, and sexual exploitation. But Tate posted the question on Twitter, quote, so P. Diddy was having sex with Meek Mill and Usher? Meek Mill responded, was you sex trafficking women? TF wrong with you, Brody? Tate responded, I only asked a question because everyone is saying it happened. It's true or not. As for Usher,
I had no idea that exchange happened between Meek Mill and Andrew Tate.
So P. Diddy was having sex with Meek Mill and Usher? Meek Mill responded, was you sex trafficking women? TF wrong with you, Brody? Tate responded, I only asked a question because everyone is saying it happened. It's true or not. As for Usher, as far as we could see, he didn't respond to any of the assertions in this lawsuit. And you could argue, why should he, as he's not directly mentioned by name or implicated. But something that has created a bit of buzz online is an interview that Usher did years back on the Howard Stern show, where he talked about living with Sean Combs as a teenager as part of P. Diddy's, it's called Puffy's Flavor Camp. He said, quote, I got a chance to see some things. I went there to see the lifestyle and I saw it. It was pretty wild. It was crazy. They called me Baby Boo. He went on to say he wasn't disciplinary. He was letting me be a young man. And, quote, I will always look at him like a brother. But when he was asked if he would send his children to the camp, he responded, quote, hell no. Quick note, by the way, another high-profile celebrity jumped into the mix as well with all of this Diddy controversy going on, and that's comedian Cat Williams. You might have heard about this, because in an interview with Vlad TV recently, he said he had attended one of Diddy's parties where he found out it was just men there, and he claimed that Diddy had tried to stop him from leaving, making strange, suggestive comments, even threatening and harassing him at one point. Williams had gone on to say, quote, I am not gay, and I am not going to sleep with you. Okay, but moving forward in the lawsuit.
Hold on. Oh, Cat Williams, baby.
Another high-profile celebrity jumped into the mix as well with all of this Diddy controversy going on, and that's comedian Cat Williams. You might have heard about this because in an interview with Vlad TV recently, he said he had attended one of Diddy's parties where he found out it was just men there, and he claimed that Diddy
oh my God,
had tried to stop him from leaving, making strange, suggestive comments, even threatening and harassing him at one point. Williams had gone on to say, quote, "I am not gay, and I am not going to sleep with you." Okay, but moving forward.
Hold on. We can't move forward from that. Hold on. This is
if the price of full-time filmmaking.
Oh, I got to log onto my main account. My YouTube Prime. Hold on a second. Okay, here we go.
Big dick deviance is all of these big dick deviance is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
I need to have another one of these.
Amen. Amen.
Shit. I kind of get on there.
Right.
After that, I don't really kind of know where to go. Let me one more time.
Right.
We good now?
Because the people want to know, why would he get blackballed?
Yeah,
because in 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets. So if you and a man was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing,
you would tell it.
No, somebody come to tell me.
Okay.
I gather that. I value that. I'll pay for that. Come, tell me. I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. They all know it. Why? Because you don't make me the villain. Not the guy that raises black children and ain't never done a hard drug in his life and don't have no stories of doing nobody dirty. And they'll just go out and they'll lie. The industry doesn't mess with Cat because he didn't show up for the studio. No studios have ever said that. Look at my IMDb. It will show you that no studio has ever lost money with me on the script. How? That's why I'm saying, that's why I can't let Ricky Smiley say he was supposed to play Money Mike, because I wrote the words for Money Mike. I designed the hair for Money Mike. I told you those lies that no one's ever heard. Right, but he's telling you something no one's ever heard of. Nobody has ever heard, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon was in a movie and somebody said, y'all should switch roles. And came through there and sitcom on network television. One job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job. Why do you think Gary Owen can't cross over and he already white and been in comedy for 25 years? If what I say ain't the case. It's a cabal. It's a consortium. They rock with who they rock with and they don't with who they don't. But I'm not scared of being the competition any more than you were when you lined up across from a superior team. Yeah, on paper, they're a better team.
Right.
They have all the assets and resources and we don't. But let us get on the line, boy, and see if that factors in. I guarantee you it won't.
Wow.
Because Shannon Sharp got to be a different person than that other person. Heads go down.
All right, let me listen to this other clip here.
My goal was to get this far in Hollywood and still have a virgin asshole. And never has sucked a penis. That was my only goal.
Cat.
I didn't want to get with a white woman because I was scared she might have me running down the street like Jonathan Majors.
There you go. See, come on, Cat.
Not because I didn't like white women. I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not going to act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror, and they could take your rabbit ass down in 2 weekends. And that's the truth of the matter. So I stayed away from that. Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no.
Tell him no.
You got to tell him no. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
That Shay's podcast was really Club Shay Shay was a really, really good podcast with Cat Williams. And yeah, he went off.
In the lawsuit, Jones claims that on Thanksgiving Day 2022, Combs offered Jones cocaine, and then rapper Young Miami, her female cousin or assistant, identified as Jane Doe 1, tried to sexually assault Jones, including in front of Combs. And Jones, in fact, again, attached screenshots from a video of Combs, Jones, Young Miami, and Jane Doe 1 on that day. Now, this makes up the fourth listed cause of action in the lawsuit. He is.
I mean, the other thing with that, he also said that he felt like P. Diddy allegedly had sent this woman to try to lure him and, like, you know, make him succumb to her so that P. Diddy could make a move.
Suing Jane Doe 1 for sexual assault.
Allegedly.
Jones says that her actions were willful and malicious and frightened him. He's also suing her for both negligent and intentional infliction of emotional distress. By the way, he also ends up suing Combs for negligent and intentional infliction of emotional distress for a lot of this behavior that he says is extreme and outrageous. But speaking of which, Jones is also suing Combs, too, for the same alleged assault by Jane Doe 1 under a premises liability theory. Basically, Jones is arguing that Combs is responsible because this alleged assault happened on Combs's property. He saw this happen, that he had a duty as the owner of the property to protect Jones from harm. That's actually a common theme we see in personal injury cases. If something happens to your guests on your property, your business, your home, you could be legally responsible. Then there is the Cuba Gooding Jr. incident. Oh, yeah. Jones claims he believes Combs was grooming Jones to pass him off to his friends. And he claims that one day on Combs's yacht, Combs suggested that the actor, quote, get to know Jones, left them alone, and then Cuba Gooding Jr. allegedly touched, groped, and fondled Mr. Jones. Jones had to allegedly push him away. Again, there are screenshots of not only Combs and Gooding Jr. together allegedly on that yacht, but also Gooding Jr. and Jones, where you can see his arm around the producer and sitting right next to him. Jones appears to be smiling. One of the causes of action is against Combs, again, for premises liability, because Jones claims Gooding Jr. sexually assaulted and harassed him on Combs's yacht. In the lawsuit, Jones brings up another event. This is a shooting that happened at Chalice Recording Studios in L.A., where after a heated fight between Combs, his son Justin, and Justin's friend identified as G, gunshots rang out. G was lying on the ground with blood coming out of his hip, leg area. Jones claims that Combs allegedly told his team to tell police that he had nothing to do with this. And then Jones, in the lawsuit, provided screenshots of the blood-stained bathroom where he claims G was.
47 minutes ago, I guess they're tracking Diddy's plane. Thank you, Gypsy, for sending me this. Update. Diddy private jet, the Gulfstream G550, departed from Van Nuys Airport earlier today, now descending to land in a remote airfield in Barbuda. Oh, shit. Is he on the run? So he left. Van Nuys is in California. And he's landing in Barbuda. Uh-oh. Diddy. Where you going, Diddy? They're tracking now. They're tracking on your private planes and your commercial flights. Oh, shit. Say it ain't so, Diddy.
Was shot by either Combs or his son. And he claims he still has the clothing that you could test for DNA. Now, one of the claims or causes of action in this lawsuit is against Combs and his son Justin under California's bystander negligent infliction of emotional distress. This is the idea here is that this shooting of G traumatized Jones and that it has caused him to suffer PTSD and depression. And then there is another cause of action against the various entities like Universal Music Group and Motown Records for this shooting, again, under a premises liability theory that they failed in their duty to provide adequate security at Chalice Studios. This shooting could have been prevented. Talking complicated lawsuits, let me just take a minute to thank a team that really knows about the law. Attorney Tom and Associates. They're a great sponsor of this episode of Sidebar. Look, if you find yourself in a position where you need a lawyer, finding the right one can be tricky. at times. Well, that is where attorney Tom comes in. So Tom and his team, they have this blend of deep legal knowledge. It's private. You're going to be, it's invaluable and by into your success. Why? Because this team, you're not just hires and you're .coms. Tom wins. But moving on, Jones also talks about an event from this past summer, July 2nd, 2023, out in California. He claims that Combs had a party with underage girls and sex workers at his home, and his son and an unidentified R&B artist were there. Now, again, embedded in this lawsuit, in this complaint, are screenshots of a video taken of this party where it allegedly shows Combs either kissing or dancing almost face-to-face with a purported underage girl. And the thing about the screenshots from these videos, too, let me just talk about it. Jones usually claims in the suit that the writer is in possession of the video and this could be provided to court. We don't know exactly at this point what the videos do or do not show or the context or what they can prove, but the screenshots in and of themselves are important to establish what we call in the law a prima facie case, meaning at first sight or first impression, the evidence is sufficient to support the claims. Now, moving forward, Jones argues that he...
Oh, they tagged me on Twitter about this Diddy and Rick Ross. I've seen this picture, and I was told that this is like a term of endearment. Rick Ross and Diddy. I think it was like a I'm gonna hold you and kind of give you like a, I don't know. I mean, that's really, really close. But he might have been going to kiss his cheek. Almost like a neck hug. We've talked about neck hug before. See if I can pull it up. Neck hug. Maybe it's just like a, kind of like the Southern thing. Let me show you this. Hug. The Southern people. I guess this is like a thing. Neck hug. That's what I think of.
Thank y'all so much.
Neck hug. This is a neck hug.
Thank you, baby.
There you go. I told you. It's a Southern thing. Them good old boys. The country boys, they come from the back. And they kind of put your arm around you. It's like a more affectionate way of hugging. Yeah, neck hug. See? The good old boys. Like that. And it's just like a close way of like, love you, man. Love you, bro. And you cannot give a kiss on the neck and like kind of like the cheek and like close to the ear area. Yeah, like a mafia thing. Yeah. What is up, Take Mel? And we got. I'm saying it's probably a neck hug with these guys. I don't know. There's a Lil Wayne one too, but Lil Wayne is with Birdman. But this one, yeah, that's kind of where his tongue is out too, though. It's like his tongue's to the side, it's kind of a little much or whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, who knows what's gonna come out of this mansion? What do they call Michael Jackson's place? His mansion was Neverland. Who knows what's gonna come out of Diddy's Neverland? We need a better caption for Diddy's place. Neverland, Diddyland, Freak Off Land. I mean, look at this place. Look at this huge pond pool thing on the side. Dozens of rooms, probably. I'll take care of you. You can come live with me for free. As long as you do what I tell you. I mean, this place is huge. Beautiful. I didn't know this guy was living like this. I figured he had a mansion, but I didn't know it was like this. Like, damn. Cisco, tell me what you want from me.
He was working for Sean Combs under an implied work for hire agreement. Work for hire is when you're paid to create something for somebody else. You don't own the rights to what you create. In this case, Combs would own the rights to the songs that were produced by Jones. But Jones says he wasn't paid for the songs he produced, even though he says Combs and the defendants benefited from his work product. He says he was only offered $29,000 for all of his work over the course of 13 months. And talking about his job duties during this time that Jones was working with Combs, he states that he was, quote, forced to solicit sex workers and perform sex acts to the pleasure of Mr. Combs. On or about February 2nd, 2023, Mr. Jones believes Mr. Combs drugged him. Mr. Jones recalls waking up naked, dizzy, confused. He was in bed with 2 sex workers and Mr. Combs. He also recalls aimlessly wandering around the house with no clothes on. Quote, as part of Mr. Jones' sex worker recruitment tools, Mr. Combs provided Mr. Jones with an exclusive bad boy baseball cap.
Man, so you got a baseball cap for all that shit. You get drugged. The only thing I wondered about this, though, I can't lie, I almost wondered if Mr. Jones, like, he was kind of into some of this stuff. All these women and sex workers. Because, like, how are you forced to solicit sex workers? I don't know. But I also feel he didn't like what ended up happening in this place. You know? Oh, yeah.
Required him to wear it to Booby Trap on the River, that's a strip club, as a signal to any sex worker he approached that Mr. Combs was in town and had sent Mr. Jones to recruit them. And you might be saying, well, what happens if Jones refused to do any of this? Well, Jones claims that Combs would use his power and influence to threaten and intimidate Jones. Quote, Mr. Combs would often switch up his approach. He would go from promising Mr. Jones the world to threatening Mr. Jones with physical harm. Mr. Combs threatened to eat Mr. Jones's face and inform Mr. Jones that he is willing to kill his mother, Janice Combs, if he must, in order to get what he wants, so he wouldn't think twice to harm Mr. Jones. Claims that he was also told Combs' head of security, Fahim Muhammad, had the power to make people disappear. And keeping up with that theme of instilling fear, Jones said that Combs would show off his guns, that he would brag about shooting people, that he confessed that he was responsible for that infamous 1999 shooting outside of a New York City nightclub. According to Jones, Combs had told him that J-Lo, who Combs had been dating at the time, she was the one who carried the gun into the club for him and passed the gun to him when he got into that altercation outside the club when shots were fired and 3 people were injured. Jones claims that Combs admitted he forced his artist at the time, Shine, to be the fall guy, to take the blame for the shooting. He was sentenced for 10 years in prison.
And that's crazy because Shine, there was one song I really liked from this guy back then. Shine. He was up and coming. The guy was going to blow up. What was the song that he did? Bad Boy. Shine. Let's see.
Coke boil in the pot. Shake the fence and bust shot.
Whoa! Sing. That song was dope back in the day.
Caught the shit, then shoot men striking on the floor, banging on your whole.
Damn, he took the hit for Diddy, allegedly.
By the way, now Jones claims that with all of this, he was terrified. He was terrified, and we're going to get into why that is important in just a bit. But Jones makes a comparison in this lawsuit to, of all people, Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, he claims that defendant Christina Coram,
like
Holmes' chief of staff, is like Ghislaine Maxwell, the former associate or madam of Epstein, who was
Black Rob has some good music
sex
too.
Trafficking related charges, serving a 20-year prison sentence. For instance, when Jones went to Coram to report Combs, she allegedly said, quote, you know, Sean will be Sean. And Jones said that Coram made sure her assistants kept Combs high. She made sure that all the employees would readily carry around drugs for Combs whenever he wanted them. And that
I need an assistant like that.
Included forcing Jones to carry a drug pouch. She also made sure to procure sex workers for Combs. Basically says that she was instrumental in this RICO or criminal enterprise of illicit drugs, guns, sex acts, including facilitating freak-offs, which we had heard of in the Cassie Ventura lawsuit. These are sexual episodes directed by Combs. But now let's talk about, real quickly, some of the more remaining causes of action or claims in this lawsuit. I mentioned there were 15. We've already gone over a bunch of them. But Jones alleges that Combs, his son, various associates, and companies like Motown, Combs Global, Love Records, UMG, They all engaged in illegal racketeering enterprise in violation of the federal RICO statute. And that statute provides someone who is injured a right to sue. Jones argues these companies are liable for the actions of Combs, his son, Coram, because they were all employees or agents of these entities acting on their behalf, that these entities should have been monitoring or warning or supervising what they were allegedly doing. The big theme here is that they were all part of a criminal enterprise, namely making money by forcing and threatening people like Jones to transport drugs and guns, soliciting minors and sex workers, making music without properly paying them. The common purpose of this enterprise is, quote, to enrich themselves financially and sexually at the expense of producers and musicians like Jones.
Wow.
And they claim that Jones was promised cash payments, Grammy awards, access to future projects, access to famous celebrities, and that the defendants profited from this enterprise, and that Plaintiff Jones suffered because the enterprise diminished his finances. And Jones argues that this criminal enterprise engaged in mail and wire fraud to carry out this scheme. Now, there is another cause of action under the Trafficking and Victims Protection Act, or TVPA. This is a major law that was instituted to fight against domestic and international human slavery. It alleged that Combs and his associates participated in and furthered a sex trafficking venture by forcing and threatening people like Jones and minors to engage in commercial sex acts. The defendants were hiding money. They weren't paying taxes. This was all a dangerous criminal enterprise. And he also alleges that UMG and Motown and these entities, that they aided and abetted and induced this sex trafficking venture. They violated the law. They benefited from it financially. They obstructed enforcement of the TVPA, and that they provided Combs with the cash, the lines of credit, the opportunity to do all this. They concealed his alleged misconduct and his crimes. In fact, Jones says that these defendants should have taken a cue when Jeffrey Epstein was prosecuted. They should have known better. So this is a major lawsuit, right? And what Jones is asking for in this lawsuit, after laying all this out, he is looking for a few things. Among other things, he's seeking a court to make a legal determination that the defendants violated New York law. He is looking for damages to compensate him for lost wages, incomes, but also for mental anguish, humiliation, pain and suffering, distress. He's looking for punitive damages, which is a way to punish the defendants. And we've seen those numbers sometimes far exceed compensatory damages. Look at the Alex Jones case. But he's also seeking medical expenses. He's seeking injunctive relief. That's when you have an order for the court to actually stop somebody from doing something. And I said, look, this is a major lawsuit, but obviously the defendants will have an opportunity to respond. This is usually in an answer to a complaint. It's a formal written response where you either admit or deny each statement in the complaint. And look, what I just laid out are allegations, disturbing allegations, but allegations nonetheless. Jones still has to prove this happened. Defendants could assert that this is all made up, or that there is context to all of this, that this is speculation, that the videos, the photos, the screenshots, they really don't show anything. And I also imagine they could argue at trial, we're supposed to believe all these crimes were taking place and Jones didn't report any of it. Could he just be a disgruntled employee? Well, that is why I mentioned before the fear component that Jones brings up. It is so important. The idea that he was threatened, he was afraid to come forward. That's why you hear a lot about this in the lawsuit. And by the way, you also have multiple defendants who may take different actions during the course of this litigation. Possibility of a settlement. You don't want more coming out, especially if Jones claims he actually has videos available proving this alleged misconduct, or through the discovery process, he could unearth these allegedly secret recordings from Combs's homes that he allegedly has. Now, Combs' attorney, Sean Hawley, released a statement calling Jones a liar and that he, quote, is shamelessly looking for an undeserved payday. His reckless name dropping about events that are pure fiction and simply did not happen is nothing more than a transparent attempt to garner headlines. Goes on to state, quote, we have overwhelming, indisputable proof that his claims are complete lies. Our attempts to share this proof with Mr. Jones's attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored. We will address these outlandish allegations in court and take all appropriate actions against those who make them. Now, as this civil case wraps itself up, something just to think about. As you can tell, there are criminal aspects to these allegations, but we know that the standard of proof is higher in criminal cases. It's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So even if Jones could prove this in civil court, all you need to show is preponderance of the evidence that more likely than not, these things occurred, it doesn't mean that prosecutors would immediately take up these cases against Combs and these defendants. And also, there are other considerations like the statute of limitations. Could you even prosecute these crimes? Are they too old? Okay, that was a lot to get through. Thank you so much for joining us here on this episode of Sidebar. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.
Boom. All right. So here's what's going on. Give me 1 second. Okay. I'm setting up the next stream for the main channel. We've been on all day long. All day long. Am I too loud? All day long. So the next stream is going to be Nancy Grace interviewing Sebastian Rogers' biological mother and stepdad. I'm a little tired, but we got to keep going. So I set it for 8 p.m. Eastern on the main channel. I'm going to redirect everybody over there. But, yeah, I'm going to redirect everybody over there. But tomorrow I have 2 other things that we need to do. I'll figure it out tonight because we need to do Kevin Frankie's interview. And we also need to do when the kids were at the friend's house tomorrow. Kevin Frankie is like an hour, and then the other thing is like 2 hours. So tomorrow morning is going to be planned out. So please, if you could subscribe, make sure you subscribe to this page, Ikemel CC, because I'm doing all kinds of shit on this page. Amazing. We're already almost at 19,000. 18,596. So yeah, subscribe to this page. We'll keep following the Diddy stuff. I think the choppers have left right now. I'm going to take a little mini break, and then we'll continue on to the next page for tonight. And let me see if I missed anything too. Hope 8 Fear, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Tactical Chloe El DeSalvia, thank you for the memberships. Loxy Cox, thank you for the membership. Daniela, thank you for the super chat. Says so much yet to be exposed. Wow, so many more to go down. Yeah, I think there's a whole bunch of shit that's coming out. Kayla Marie, thank you for the $10 super chat and the membership. Amazing. Says, do we believe L.A. Reid is the one who made the alert into what he is now? Or we need to deep dive on L.A. Reid too? Also, shout out to the mods. Y'all putting in work today. I'll behave. Thank you, Kayla. I don't know anything much about L.A. Reid, and we might have to do that another time, deep dive. Val G5, thank you for the 5-month membership. Says, Mel is nice enough to stream this. Hit the like button. Shawnee Coleman, thank you so much for the $10 too. Thank you for the super chat. Jiggy Joe, thank you for the 20. You think T.I. telling? I don't know. I heard a bunch of crazy shit about T.I. I never covered it. Maybe we'll have to get into that to find out what's really going on in Hollywood. Celebrity entertainment. Oh my God. So I'll see you guys in a bit. All right? Take a little break. Bye. Love you. Peace. Boop, boop.